Guys, let us move on. As I said, Kutiso and Dinanguwa Yakareba, I'll just quickly get folks that have requested to comment on this development this morning. If you're just joining us, welcome to the program, welcome to the space. We are talking about the incident that we broke this morning. The police, heavily armed police, descended on the chamber offices of Honorable Tendai Biti, and it wasn't clear as to why, but we are now finding out that they thought there was going to be a meeting at these offices, and they wanted to stop that meeting. The meeting being allegedly conducted under the CDF forum, the Constitutional Defense Forum, that is being led by Honorable Tendai Biti, there. But as we heard from our witness on the ground, who's giving us information, the last incident that took place there was for them to go and inquire or harass a groundsman there at the property, trying to find out or inquiring, asking him questions, could go panaba chichi chazoitika, etc, as if they've got any intel on what is about to go down. Uncle Philosophy, can you please mute your mic? Do not just unmute the mic. If I am speaking and you're muting your mic, the sound that is coming from the background, and it creates chaos in terms of noise on the space. So if you can just bear with me, I'll come to you and I'll give you the opportunity to speak. Right. But I want to go on to Tawona Denere. Tawona, please come through. Do you want to say anything? What is your comment on what we are reporting on this morning? Tawona Denere, are you there? Right. Okay. Patawe FM, how you doing?
Yes, Baba Makadiko.
Makasimba baba muri sei kwa muri ikoko.
Ndiri right, zviri kudii.
Aiwa, tikungodaro.
Vaenda one wild chess.
Wild goose chai.
My way, pakaipa. Zvinowanikwa maresources otoitwa.
Inyaya yebush intelligence yataona dediwo, because we rely on bush intelligence. Ivavo vanenge varova bush maragado, or rely on bush intelligence. Azobuda.
Pakaipa. Zvowanikwa kutoti kudiko, zvowanikwa.
Magwigwi.
Magwigwi chaiwo. No, zvofanira kuva better than this, I think. Kuti at least as a country, we must be able to manage ourselves in a much better way. Negative coverage of our country does not do any good to anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's quite unfortunate if we are to descend into that kind of repression. And I feel personally, I also want to compliment him, the President Mnangagwa, for he has been relatively calm. The way the security used to operate for some time was okay. I don't know much, but I think it was not tainting our country that much. But if this is now to resurface, it reminds us of the repressive systems that used to exist, especially during President Mugabe's era. And I think it does a lot of damage to a country which seeks desperately to recover from many years of stagnation. So it is imperative upon our government to reflect seriously on this approach, because I feel it can only damage us all. And we should avoid unnecessary movements that really portrays our country in a very negative way. And it's safe to say we can't also feel comfortable wasting resources for nothing. And I feel the moment you take on this kind of steps, you are actually empowering those people. They're actually empowering them. And now they are going to feel very much emboldened in their quest for whatever they are eager to do. And they are giving them international recognition, and they will get a lot of sympathy, which at the end, it doesn't serve any purpose for the government to come hard-handedly on private citizens. Let them exercise their democratic right to gather and do whatever they want. The most important thing for the government is to make sure that whatever they are doing does not descend into chaos. But their democratic right to gather and stand up for something, I think, should be respected. Just as the government also, government members also exercise their democratic right. It's unfair. I feel it's unnecessary. It's given where we are. It's needless for the government to start doing this. It portrays us in a very bad picture. And I think also our intelligence community should do a better job than this. It's pathetic. Zimbabwe was quite had quite a very good reputation of having a really good security apparatus that really work efficiently. But if you see this kind of wild goose, which we see, you realize that competence in some of the members perhaps is an issue that needs to be looked into. Wasting resources at a time when we need to build our country, I don't think we can manage this kind of situation. That's all I wanted to say.
Right.
It doesn't really make sense.
And Iowa, thank you very much. Thank you very much, for that. All right. Before I come to you, Tatenda, can I go to Men of Peace? Men of Peace, do you want to come in quickly?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
You're welcome, my brother.
What worries me is why would you send armed police to a civilian's office? Right, they are your people, right? We are all Zimbabweans. Why would you send 2 vehicles to arrest civilians? Why not just send the police, ordinary police people, to inquire what is happening? And we as Zimbabweans, we are very interested in politics. But the thing is, there is so much intimidation. We've lost so many lives. And even if you want to be a politician, the first thing the family will tell you is, have you not seen what is happening? Have you not seen how many people have died? But you know what? We as Zimbabweans will remain resolute. Right? We are not going to be intimidated. We are going to continue speaking our voices. If something is bad, it's bad. We are not going to appease a thieving spirit by offering sacrifice. We need to stand together. We need to be united. When you look at the opposition parties that are no longer functional, most of them were infiltrated. There were people who were paid money, and you know what? In the end, they become dysfunctional. But the thing is, we observe with pain what is happening in our country. Zimbabwe used to be the breadbasket of Africa, of the world at large. But now, you know what? We are a laughing stock wherever we go. If you say you're a Zimbabwean, people will start asking us about all these things that are happening. So sometimes we even avoid saying I'm a Zimbabwean because, so many questions are going to follow. We need to be right. We need to manage our economy. We need integrity in the international community. You know what? Even investors who want to come and invest in our country, they want to invest in a country where there's peace, there's integrity, there's decorum. They can't invest in a country where there's turmoil like this. It's very painful. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you very much, my brother. I do appreciate. Right. Tatenda, do you want to come in? Tatenda, come through.
Thank you, Uncle Gerard. Good morning. And good morning, fellow Zimbabweans. And good evening to those that are in other parts of the world with a different time zone. It's a shame, Uncle Gerard and fellow Zimbabweans, that we find ourselves in the worst state of politics. Mnangagwa is a rogue man, a very mental rogue man who is imported and exported his rogueness to even other countries. I feel sad for our country, and I feel sad for the SADC region, and I feel sad for Africa to have people like Mnangagwa, because himself, he will portray a different image. He tells you that I'm a constitutionalist, but there is nothing that portrays that he's a constitutionalist in whatever he does. All his actions, they don't align to anything that talks about constitutionalism and democracy, be it leading the country, be it the business side of the country, and even in respect of the opposition. He's a cunning man that only believes in violence. And he himself will sit down at the back and send stooges. I feel sad that we have got police officers in this modern day who still believe in being used to intimidate, to violate citizens. I was happy, and I was also sad a few weeks ago, or a week ago, so when I saw when I saw something about the eviction of people at the Arnold farm in Mazowe by Mohadi's family and 6 others. A farm that they took in 2000 when there was farm invasion, 25 years later, ZANU-PF is taking them. It's a lesson to Zimbabweans who continue to be used by ZANU-PF to say ZANU-PF, it can embrace you today, then tomorrow it comes and harm you. For the opposition, we need to be strong. Like what Daddy Hope said and others, that there's a lot of infiltration. That's why we have been emphasizing to say, those who are back home, do what you are doing. But as well as the diaspora, who are honest to the cause, let's help people who are back home by mobilizing and organizing ourselves into proper structures that if we say today, Uncle Gerard, it's a Saturday, we're meeting in London, people move from Scotland, wherever they are, and in our numbers, we demonstrate our togetherness, even just to have a meeting, a sit-up where they cannot bend us by using that draconic therapy and the courts. So we should not despair, we should not lose hope, we should not walk away from our country's politics because the ground is becoming too hot. We continue to engage because they talk about liberating Zimbabwe, and Smith didn't make the environment friendly. No freedom will be delivered on a silver platter. You will never get freedom from a oppressor on a silver platter. You have to fight for it using different ways, using different approaches. And I think Honorable Biti, Honorable Job, Dr. Ibo Mandaza, every aspect of resistance, Zinasu, or done kuma SRC elections, let's show them that Zimbabweans, they don't want anything to do with ZANU-PF. Every space in a contest or to voice ourselves out to send the message. Let's not resist to use that space. Let's capitalize, because it's the only ways that are there until we break this yoke which is on our necks for the past 45 years. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Right. Tamsanga, do you want to come in?
Yeah, good morning, my brother. And it's also good to hear my fellow journalist brother speaking to these things. I would encourage you, my brother, to do more of these kind of live update sessions, because they enrich our profession and they help shed light on a lot of things. And I also agree, the optics of something like this are not good at all. They are very bad for the country and bad for the government. I'll give you a scenario. In 2018, after the election, the leader of the opposition then wanted to address a press conference at Bronte Hotel, with lots of people gathering there. The tensions were high in the aftermath of that election. And riot police came. And they were trying to disperse people. And the late minister, then Simon Kayamoyo, walked, not drove, walked from State House after hearing this, got there to the venue and told the riot police that the order from the president and other people in government then was allow people to do the press conference regardless who it was. This was the Second Republic. Things were different. The riot police got into their trucks and went away, and that press conference continued. And Minister Simon Kayamoyo walked back and continued with whatever he was doing. So that was the order of day. So when you report, and some of us who have reported in the West, if you go to the UK and other places, there are always operational issues. The police will, raid places or conduct operations, will stop meetings and all that kind of stuff. But the main difference between what has happened today and what has happened probably in other incidents is communication. It would appear there is a massive, massive gap in communicating what is going on. When the police do their operations in the UK, where some of us reported for many years, they will involve the media. They will have a media person who, if it's appropriate to give updates, they will tell you what they are doing and what's going on. If for whatever operational reasons, they are not going to tell people what's going on, they will also tell you that. And everyone in the media knows how to report, when to report, and to follow the rules. The problem that we appear to have in the context of what has happened today in Milton Park is it doesn't appear as if there is that engagement to be able to link the operations of the police, who are within their rights to do whatever they have to do, and informing people, including those that are involved, as to what is going on. It might well be, I don't know, it might well be operationally because there was a property that was bombed in Sapes, and there were issues in South Africa. It might well be that the police and others in the security side are under pressure to protect these properties that are linked to people who are identified as being in the opposition. It might well be that they had intelligence that there was, or this property was at risk, but they are not talking. That's the problem. So people will then make the conclusions that they are able to make, and the optics will not look good. Even if there's an explanation that comes later, the initial reaction will simply be that, oh, this is against, the offices, like all the headlines will be, look what's happening to these premises that are owned or run by a leader of the opposition and a former minister. So that's the conclusion, in the absence of any clear explanation as to what is going on. Even if the police are doing this to protect him and to protect the property, it becomes so difficult to put it in any other way. So I would say there is a lot that needs to change. Communication is just not good. Operationally, people can always do, but I think we can learn a thing or two from other places and other administrations where the police or the security or anybody else can do their operations, but it's always clear what's going on, and communication is always very clear, not waiting for 2 days and then get a press statement that says, oh, we did this. The last thing from me is that one other difference is what a previous speaker said, what used to happen in the First Republic compared to what the Second Republic has been trying to do, open up space, allow people, and all that kind of stuff. The biggest challenge that we seem to have is this preventative approach. And I'm sure that with time, I think that will probably be sorted. So in other places, even if there's suspicion that someone might do something, they allow them, they monitor, they allow them to do something, and then they arrest them because now they have committed the crime. But if you go to a place and say, no, we think or we heard that you are going to have a meeting and we are here to stop you from having the meeting, there is no breach in preventing something that you think might happen. So it's a big issue within our, not just Zim, but many African contexts. Whereas in the West, because you are advanced in the way that you monitor things and you collect evidence, you can allow people to do something. You can have face recognition, you can have all these cameras and CCTV and everything else. And then you can say, aha, we allowed you to march, but this is what you did. Whereas in our African context, the approach seems to be, we are not going to allow you to march because we fear that you might go and ban Nando's or something. So that, for me, is a concept that will need to be revisited. But the optics are very bad. It doesn't help the country, especially after 2 high-profile visits. It undermines all the work that has been done by others who are trying to promote the country. So people that have been, stealing deals and doing something good for the economy, for the country, and then having to deal with this, all the work is just undermined. I think it will be difficult to correct it. But I wanted to agree with my journalist colleagues that the optics is very bad. They need to communicate better. They need to clarify what they're doing so that it removes any doubt and people can judge them, whether it's a good thing they're doing or a bad thing. At least if there's proper communication, even if it is the ZBC or the Herald or anybody, any paper, you can say, journalists, we are doing an operation. We don't want you to talk about it. You are embedded, and this is what we're doing. People can understand. Or you can say, we are doing an operation, don't say anything until it's done. Thanks.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, my brother. But in terms, I'm not sure whether they wanted to protect the offices of Tendai Biti, right? But we know how the police in Zimbabwe operate. It's we do things and ask questions later. Bam, 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 bam. They are gone. But anyway,
it's a journalist way. I'm simply saying, in the absence of an explanation,
I hear you.
Their conclusions.
Yes, I hear you, but me as a street journalist, I'm saying that That in Zimbabwe, that is a stretch. That is a stretch. That the opposition gets that protection that comes from the police. The only time that we see that happening, it is when that opposition is kind of a captured opposition and they want to protect it. But anyway, regard family berry. Uncle Philosophy, how you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How are you, sir?
I am good. Thank you very much for coming through.
Yes, thank you. We have got this situation we are facing as a nation where
Yeah, can you come closer to your mic, my brother? And I'm not sure because there's an echo, so you're not coming out clear.
okay, we are facing this situation where we have a dictatorship at its worst. Any voice which is what would agree.
My brother, my brother, the sound coming through is bad. We are not hearing you. Hello. Right. No, my brother, the sound is bad. We are not hearing you. I'm going to remove you and then I'll bring you back up. Probably that will clear it. But in the meantime, child of Zimbabwe, do you want to come through?
Good morning, Uncle Jeza. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Thank you to everyone here. I want to start by saying that when somebody is there to protect you, you know the way they are standing, the way they are doing things, that they are there to protect you. When somebody is there to fight you, you can already tell by the stance that they are standing on, what they are doing, that they are there to fight you. The failure to communicate with the person that you are saying you want to protect is a sign that they could be the person that you want to attack. So whichever way, it's a win because they're giving us the evidence that we continuously need to gather of our oppression, of our inability to gather, our ability to not have the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, which are enshrined in our constitution. This is good. Whoever's doing it should continue doing it, and they should continue to do it so that we continue to have something to publicize of our oppression in Zimbabwe. They should continue. Whoever's doing it, you're doing a good job. Keep giving them those fake tips, fake information, so they keep gathering up. So we keep taking photos, so that people in the world knows that we are an oppressed people. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Simuka, Zimbabwe. Do you want to come through?
Yeah, thank you, Uncle Gerald. Takambopinda mumaspaces enyu akawanda and tichiri kupinda and ticharamba tichipinda. This is something which is growing bigger and bigger, and the more the information is being spread, is getting us knowledgeable. But I want to say something, Uncle Gerald. When we are having the narratives of what's happening in Zimbabwe, can also the people and what other speakers provide some specific details of what are the things that must be done, at least in measure of what has happened? Because it's also semi youth, when we look at you, my senior citizens, we look up to what you see should be done, not just the narrative. My narrative is like you're just preaching to us, then we listen and we do nothing. But we need some like steps. Small steps are enough, not that big steps. So pamune mechisuggesta mechitaura zviri kuitika zvisiri kuita muzimbabwe, mufuna kunge mechitiudziroka kuti how should we do those things and how should we address such situations? Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Zimbabwe freedom of expression. Please come through, and then Tubo, you follow.
Hello, Uncle Jed.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, this is a bit worrying. Very, very worrying. It's not a very nice thing to see, this site. And let me give you a little bit of a tip or a reminder of what the police do in Zimbabwe. The police are well known for metering out pain and violence on Zimbabweans. They've done this so many times. And so too the security forces. They are very well known for this. From the 1980s, during Bukuraundi, they meted out pain and violence and committed a whole genocide at the behest and instruction of ZANU-PF. They did that then. Let's go to the 90s. There were crackdowns on civic groups. Heavy crackdowns on civic groups, which led to the formation of MTC. All the way to the 2000s, and then we had the 2008 elections. They did the same thing at the behest of ZANU-PF. And then we go on to the gunning down with live bullets in the center of the Republic of Zimbabwe's capital city, Harare, in front of international cameras, unashamedly. The shooting of 6 unarmed civilians, where they were firing at people that were running away, some of which had nothing to do with protests that were happening on that day. The torture of activists like Namatai Kwekweza, Mai Justina Mukoko, and the disappearances that they have done as a state of the likes of Itai Zamara, and many others who they've disappeared and mutilated, and some of them have been found so their families could at least have the semblance of finding closure, all at the behest of ZANU-PF. This is all happening while ZANU-PF is saying daily, weekly, yearly, that they are a second republic. Section 61 of the Constitution guarantees Zimbabweans freedom of expression, the right to seek, receive, and communicate ideas. For all Zimbabweans, it does not say only this type of Zimbabwean or that type of, it gives it to all Zimbabweans. It even protects the media and forbids censorship. And it requires public media to be impartial. But this is not going to be reported by ZBC. For sure. Because it is, like many have said, a stain, another stain on a government that has got a propensity for violence on Zimbabweans. Section 58 of the Zimbabwean Constitution guarantees freedom of assembly and association for every Zimbabwean, everyone, from the president to whoever he sees as a lowly subject that Wicknell can throw money at. Whether it's a woman giving birth and she's going to meet at Edith Opperman, she has the right to freedom of assembly with the matron, with the lady who was helping her to give birth, where Mrs. Mnangagwa went for a photo op opportunity to pretend that he's doing good in front of media to give donations. They have the right to freedom of assembly, even though ZANU-PF might turn around and say they don't. To a man and woman just wanting to meet as teenagers, they have the right to freedom of assembly. To political organizations and civic groups wanting to meet to discuss on how they are going to corral and remove ZANU-PF, they have the right to freedom of expression and freedom of assembly. To children who just want to meet after school and complain about ZANU-PF. They have the right to freedom of assembly and freedom of expression. They have the right, according to the Constitution. It doesn't matter who it is. There is no part that says you cannot assemble or associate because you don't like ZANU-PF. No. But you see, Uncle Jed, these rights, it seems like they are there on paper alone. And for nearly 50 years now, ZANU-PF has been the arbiter of the infliction of pain on Zimbabweans, of the curtailing of rights of Zimbabweans, whether it's the right to water, whether it's the right to healthcare, which are basic fundamental human rights, whether it's the right to food. They even breach that right too, because they will then take the food and then they will use that food and say, if you don't have a ZANU-PF card, you're not going to get food. Basic human rights. I think what needs to happen next, because this kind of thing is weakening the Constitution, is Zimbabweans need to go and do what is in the preamble of the Zimbabwean Constitution. Gather, peaceful, peacefully, and shows ZANU-PF that this constitution was written to give us, the people, rights and limit your power. And we need to start learning how we can remove ZANU-PF. We need to start learning how we can remove them. Like what Hopewell said, ZANU-PF is acutely aware that revolutions don't happen in a vacuum. They need institutions. They know. And it is these institutions and people assembling that they are trying to stop. Because people have had enough of them now. If ZANU-PF was delivering, why would so many Zimbabweans be scattered all over the world? If ZANU-PF was delivering, why would Dudula exist in South Africa? The only thing that ZANU-PF is delivering on is the violence, the torture, the rape, of Zimbabwean citizens, to silence them. That is the only thing that they're delivering. That is what they are good at. And they've shown it again, yet again, today. Because there is no way you are going to send police with full riot gear if your intention is not to meter out pain, to beat up. Ask anyone in UK, ask anyone in America. Do you know how bad ZANU-PF is in Zimbabwe? They will tell you, oh, your country, don't play when you get there. They even have it written in their country advice. They even have it written on their government websites in their country advice about Zimbabwe. Go to any country website, government website, and then ask, and then check advice about Zimbabwe, traveling there. They will tell you, you know, this is what happens. Check their media. Their media will report it again. And here you have a former finance minister that brought about a time when Zimbabwean teachers were proud and did not want to leave Zimbabwe. did not need to leave Zimbabwe, where Zimbabwean nurses were proud, did not want or need to leave Zimbabwe because their pay packets were enough. A time when the government was working for the people, not against the people. A time when Zimbabweans started moving to Zimbabwe en masse, saying Zimzanaka. That is the person that they're targeting today. That is the person that they're targeting today. They are targeting a law office that has got personal, private information. What is the next thing that they're going to do? Are they going to take all his files? Are they going to do like what they did at Sepis Trust? Because they have a history of this. They boast proudly, even the ZANU-PF chief spokesman, Mnangagwa. He even says the citizens should pick up arms. And we have said, no, we're not going to do that. We are peaceful. We are peaceful. We are very, very peaceful. But we withdraw our consent. No. This is where I'm coming from, Uncle Jed, and I'm imploring Zimbabweans to go and watch the videos about what happened for the Arab Spring to happen. What happened for the South Africa former racist regime to be removed. What happened during the Orange Revolution? Go and watch those videos. Go and find out what is peaceful resistance. What is it all about? What is peaceful civil disobedience all about? Something that got Farai Gumbonzanda arrested and accused of treason, only for her to be found not guilty. Yet she was made to sit in the white and red jumper for a very long time. And then almost in an apology, ED decides to send her mother to United Nations. Yet all Farai wanted was just more rights for young girls. That's all she wanted. And then she was treated as someone who is treasonous. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the normal behavior of ZANU-PF. This is not new. This is their normal behavior. This is their character. This is how we know them. This is how we know them. This is them to the T, to the character, to the T. There's a lot more I could say, but I will be then going off topic too much. But this is them, typical. There's nothing about this that does not exemplify how ZANU-PF uses state resources against ordinary Zimbabweans. Nothing. That is different. This is them. This is them to a T. This is them. This is them. This is just them showing that this is what they want to do if you gather. And they don't want anyone to gather. Yet it is part of our rights in the Constitution. And those that are coming here to defend the government, to me, this shows me that they support the government doing this. They support ZANU-PF doing this. They're not condemning it. They are in support of it. I condemn this 110%. That's why I'm saying, since they're a government that breaches people's human rights and breaches the Constitution openly, let's remove them. Let's gather. Let's learn how others have done it and follow their steps. If you want to know more, please go to Child of Zimbabwe, go to Uncle Gerard, go to Mkumata Tenda. They're on the speakers and they can direct you. Go there, do this, do that, these books, and you will see how others have done it. Thank you very much, Uncle Gerard. Really appreciate you. And I hope that everyone is safe, especially Biti and his family. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Right. Two boy.
Good morning.
Say.
Yeah, nezvendakamira ndatsamwa ndanzwa munhu anga kuti vari muno kuZimbabwe muno tine mauniform 77 ebhora but hapana zvamunoita vakomana kuvanhu ava vabva kupa ipapa ndatopinda musha wakakuti ndiriwe uniform yemaganasi but ndambofunga kuti nestatement yaitirwa nezuya ndikazoonekwa nemazimbabwe ndakapfeka maganasi ndozonzima haasi mumwe wachona here uyu saka matitoita sei nemauniforms ebhora kazi vekuzimbabwe maenda ndati vakada kudaro isusu tobva tamhanya kune mamwe manationality koko tobva toraona peace but Zimbabwe guys but naisana kuona top face wenyu mimi achibuda pamapurisa makamona nezuro achinotaura neauthority then mangwana emimi wamafuma muchisungwa shida dzacho munodzijoinisa sei
Panoti nezveipa
mona mhofu top shot yenyu kutobuda pababylon office kana ndopa moto yake ikatopakwa ipapo imwe kutopindawo kwamuri kuenda mangwana mawana mapurisa akamira padeni penyu hamusi kuzvibatanidza here akainda akazvamisa sei pakapinda muZimbabwe
man.
ngatiburirane nepachena akaindi akazvamisa sei
ndokwamuri kuenda nenyaya yenyi
zvimwe zvinhu ngatifungozvibreaka zviri simple wangu inini kana ndichitamba naScott tiri matop shata toita magame edu one day ndozona Scott achitaura nemafeders mangwana mofofuma wachisungwa saka ufriendship wacho zonamba uripera nokuti ini ndikutoona matsimba akaindi pane zvaakasiya ataura
mofu tingablame HH sure nevanhu vedu
aiwa but information wangu noti nabitika akati mungatori matop shot saka ukazona top shot yako yakunodya kuma-enemies mangwana uchifuma uchisungwa iwewe there's a question mark ipapo there's a really big unogona usana sekudaro mhofuka but to me ndaona mafootprint aHH aizvozvo ndatozviona
but Mof, when looking at the events how they've unfolded looking what happened to Job and looking at what's happening to BT and looking at the anti-2030 agenda, is this not a clear that they are targeting all these people that are anti-2030? For me, that's
yes they are. Yes they are, Mof. But ngatiboseparate maishu apa timbobata kune yaBiti chete zvaitika izvi naso makuseni zvaitika kuna BT and HH was in Zimbabwe. HH naBiti vakati ngwatinotora top face and BT obva mapurisa obva afuma ari kubva kwaBiti. BT anofungei pamusoro paHH?
HH ana power to our government.
But what I move. Bhuru wenyu uyo ari kuti izvo HH akainstara kuti chichaizvo
chakataura HH
nyamashi zvandokumbira kutaura nemukomo wangu
ndopane maquestion mark angu ipapo
ndokumbirawo ndigadzirise iye musha
mangwana mofu kana vabata ngaribvume mangwana kana vabata who is the other one who was on that ningiriki zvinenge muchapinza HH futi here kana kuti mungoona kuti pane pattern iri kuitika?
No ngaribvume naHH angu asimbori matop shata but biti na HH matop shata zvokutodaro. So ndikazona mutop shata wangu example yandapewa kuti kana mutop shata wangu achitobuda pakamba yemafedhasi inini mufundo kumwa ndisungwa mangwana. I have to go back ndotanga kubvunza kuti komufesi wangu uya nezuro anga ari kukamba yemapurisa, what was the purpose of his visit? And kune mamwe malines aakadropa akaita sei? Iye biti afa kutotanga kutozvibvunza izvi. Saka HH omisa that close kana kuti not biti na HH kune zvawaitombotaura. Ko HH akaenda kana zvidropa uko. Then poita reaction yakadai so yaitika nhasi kubva kuna idiot.
Yeah, but...
And I don't know, but I would love to ask my brother that he Tamsanga. Tamsanga, kana mi muchitaura kuti mafundiro acho guys. Achiri makuseni. My brother, do you remember pakauya Sadak? Sadak pakauya pakasungwa ana Timber and the other 57. Is that the protection that you're talking about? Then you can hear Mchango achitaura kuti takavasunga nekuti taifungira kuti vachademonstrate. Is that the protection that you're talking about? Then someone could spend 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in jail. Is that still the protection that you are referring? Maybe the police, they will think maybe they have to protect you, then they have to send you in a prison. Kana mapurisa achiziva kuti there is an enemy yanga ichida kunoita zvakada kuita kumaofisi abiti kuMilton Park uko, vadii kunoenda kuenemy yachona iyoyo. But if I got information yekuti inini mwana wangu musikana kune munhu ada kuuya panapa kuzomuginya mvura, saka enda kuti mwana wangu musikana inini I have to take you to the police station onogara macells, but munhu wacho ndikumuziya. Saka polisi ikaiziya munhu wachona yavo yadii kuenda ikoko. Mukazi muda kusapota guys wangu ngatisadaro guys, nokuti some families they suffer. Umakatenga akasungwa, some of them akatoluza life, mwana wake akatofa munhu asipo under police protection. My brother, if that bootlicking yakanasika palevel yakadai soka inotyisa. That is not protection. Vatouya mapurisa yaya. And tarisa mapurisa acho aripo yaya, asi protection aya mapurisa yaya. Yeah, he black boots yanga yakatoya yaya, anagondo arishai. I don't know my brother, and I don't want to agree, but in those Zimbabwe yacho. Inga mapumo akasiya vaimba one. Those Zimbabwe yacho guys. It's so sad. It's so sad, but what do you expect kune vanhu vakapinda mupower nechisimba? What do you expect, son? Sa vanhu vakatoda kupusha government yanga yakavhotirwa nevanhu kuti ngaibve kuti vaise yavo. 2 elections ichirohwa ichikupinda nechisimba. What do you expect? I don't know. I agree with my brother, previous speaker, Zimbabwe. It's time for Zimbabwe to take some action. And sometimes you don't listen to all these rubbish guys. You can be protected by being locked down in a jail. Wangu kwash, achini makuseni wangu. But ndabatwa nestatement. Guys, have a good Saturday.
All right. Right. Tezara on Gab, you wanted to say?
I just wanted to appreciate the fellow Mofu for sort of out of the box thinking, but yange aiskunyatsosvika chaipo because HH we are reaching. Inini, I wanted to say, I hope on BT's side he's celebrating, because I'm imagining a situation where he is on the offense. Because last time when they tried to do something, they were intercepted both in Harare and in Bulawayo. So they know there's somebody inside who's telling them where they are meeting, what time. So should they want to flush out the mall, they would tip off one person with wrong information of where they are supposed to be meeting. And once we see police headed in that direction, then we know who's selling us out. So I'm hoping they are celebrating because they have caught their mall. Or they are just saying, Kuti, they should not know that we are not doing anything. Let us just send out information. They are listening into us. They know what's up. They would know how to intercept this. We say we are meeting and yet we are not meeting. So there's a meeting, but there's no meeting. Let's meet at my place Saturday morning. And then boom, they show up, but nobody is there. Just to confuse the enemy. So I'm hoping these two scenarios is what is happening. At least we know Kuti, our leaders are on the offense. They are trying to do something that is strategic. They are not just going out there without thinking or anything. I hope this is an offensive move. And they are celebrating Kuti, nasta bata madinga yedu. Ameno kwa vari pamwe vakatochila vachiri kutorwa breakfast dzavo yato afternoon. Vari kutoseka zvavo kuti masaska mai gavambopisa dhiziri vakananga ikoko. I just hope this is it. If it's not, it's just another sad realization of our situation in our country, our land.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Mof Mazika. Okay. Right. Right. Child of Zim.
I just want to come back and encourage Zimbabweans. Let's repost this violation on our rights. Repost. Why? It's a record of our violations. We need to keep that record going. So that Mangwana, when we start doing our things, we've got our records there. This is a record of our violation, and the evidence of violation, whether it's rape or anything, should be kept and maintained, and the story must never be kept quiet on. Let's repost. Let's make it a culture of reposting where we are oppressed. Repost whatever post you're finding on on X that is talking of our oppression, that is evidence of our oppression. It is important for us as the people of Zimbabwe to continue to do that until we are free.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Right. Can I go to Sir Brian?
Okay, thanks very much for opportunity.
You're welcome.
I think ndichangodzoka zvishoma pane nyaya inge ichitaurwa kuti since Mr. HH wanga vari munomu, so probably that's the reason why Mr. Biti vasangana zvavasangana nazvo. But if you check very well, to my understanding, I think those people who are under 2030, they are being vari kutevererwa nenzira isiriyo. Just check to what happening in South Africa to Mr. Job Scala. Ukatarisa nyaya iyoyo inyaya yekuti vanhu vese vari kutarisa kuti vari under 2030 vari kusangana machallenges ekuti panogadzirwa zvinhu zvekuti zvigadzirwe ngopakati paviri. If you check, Mr. HH was yesterday, nhasi kwaMr. Biti kwabva kwadzo. It is as if Mr. HH pane something chavakaita zvokuti zvinobringa a hostility between vatakachunga pamwe vanogona kunge vane chekuita for new and better Zimbabwe. That same applies to what happened to Mr. Job Scala. So I think there is nothing outside Zimbabwe, rather to those who are anti 2030. Ndo tasekuti varongomonitwa kuti pakava nearadza kuti handi kuda kusimudza musoro zvakanyanya, anotsvagwa a way to creep him down so that the agenda will go without any obstacle. I think. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Fabish, how you doing?
Uncle, Muribo.
Musha, did you say?
50-50, zvimidasi.
Ngodaro kandoka ningime ndotse kuendeka dzatinofumira idzi dzatinoitirwa nebato.
Ndopangira vanhu.
Mabororo atinoitirwa nebato makusenzenana. Some of these things, they don't need to happen, on such a beautiful day in Zimbabwe, Huh?
No, man, Uncle, these are
Can't believe
symptoms
that. Can't believe so much SHIT can happen on such a beautiful morning in Zimbabwe.
But what that is, Uncle? these are signs of actually a dynasty, or maybe that it power that is actually going out. That's the reality. It's just going out. I mean, we can't say that it's fading because there's no fading there. It's going out. If you look at remember during the Cold War, we had the Warsaw Pact and then we had the West standing that side. And when the collapse kind of the prehistorica, the regimes of the Warsaw Pact started collapsing. That is what happened to Hungary, Poland, those ruling parties, I mean, ended up actually going into obliteration. Actually, they ended up not surviving. One case in point, which was very interesting, which is almost similar to ours, was the one of Romania. That one, I mean, it stood out for me. East Germany, yes, it was there. Putin was there. Okay, East Germany, it was cheering of the war mostly. But Romania was actually mostly like ours. Maybe Augustine Pinochet, almost close to ours, where a regime starts doing knee-jerk reactions and then he starts going after his people, he starts killing his people. But I mean, it tries to prop up even the most useless people in a society, you know, and it tries to do whatever is possible to hang on to power. Saka, all these tricks, Torah, for instance, Dangote, when Dangote is coming in, I mean, can't you see they're actually insulting our intelligence? Isusuma Zimbabweans, we are not privy of actually building our own infrastructure. We need a Nigerian to come and show us. A Nigerian and go take us south and stuff like that. Yes, he made money by virtue of having a silver spoon and stuff like that. But I mean, what's wrong with creating our own Dangotes? Very fine, Mnangagwa created his own Dangote, but his own Dangote, as we can see, is running around and he is clueless of what is supposed to be done to an economy. 2 billionaires running around gifting cars can't even fucking do anything about an industry, and this party says, no, we want to rule until kingdom come, until Madongamera Nyanga, my foot. It's no longer time for unicorns. We have watched the unicorns, and the unicorns, I mean, are just a fairy tale. So as such, maybe they're living in a fantasy land and a fantasy world. Maybe what you want to Popeye. Maybe na Tamsan and Wachona produce a Popeye, Achona Wachiwa Popeye. Hey, let's watch this Popeye here. We've got unicorns that we can create out of Dangotes and out of the Chivayos. And then, but then when it comes to the economy, dololo, zero deliverance, clueless. Yes, optics of splashing out money. Who doesn't like anybody who splashes out money? Even if you're a guy, a boyfriend, would only pay yes. Wagananga kubawa izvezvi so no tosvika kwaunganirwa nemahuri vakazara pauri shaya sendira chona mangwana chona kuti mahuri achona isacho kutiza anoenda saka pane mari pese maoptics and theatrics ka they will try to play out as if though there's assurance. I mean, don't lose hope, don't lose heart. This is exactly the science. And they are actually pointing to that, and they are 100%. You try and divide the people as a ruling party, you are actually headed for your own demise. Those English cheating and Ogona matrix pecha vana Dangote wakunzwa language yamunotaura panapa pamaspaces panapa yekuti no, we want meritocracy. Vana Superman wanzira vakutanga kuidzidza kuitaura. Can't you see you guys are ruling? If Tamsanga is coming here to stay and try and push a narrative, no, he'll carry that narrative again and say, listen, you guys don't understand meritocracy. These guys are saying this and this. Tomorrow at a rally, you see they are saying, no, these guys are saying Wiwa can come out. Yes, tomorrow Wiwa is out. No, Tendai Biti is actually pushing for constitutional change. Tomorrow morning, you see the police is there. We don't have to take the foot off the accelerator. Let's keep on pressing it. Because it's fucking scary. That is the reality. And if we're going to say no, we are going to be staying in South Africa, if what I think, what I believe, from what I've read or what I've watched, it's very terrible. Once we start receiving Palestinian refugees in South Africa, it means that the West is going to say Hamas is training, is actually producing it's terrorists in South Africa, and they will have a reason of actually bombing this country. Scary. So such is the demise of liberation parties when it comes now to the democracy of a people. And as such, we can't sacrifice ourselves to be killed for a people who are not cognizant of their own people. I mean, and go and try and take Chinese to come and bring and prop them up as building an economy, or go and take a Nigerian. Currently, Africa deserves its own people within its own constituencies. We have got enough people, learned people. Why can't we own our own people? Then you hear somebody saying, no, this is what we are going to do, tenderpreneurship to imiwe group chakuti. Whose money is that? Aisi mari yedu yemaremittances zedu tirikutumidzira kumusha kutanga kudecide nerimwe dofo zvaro rinozviti ndibhillionaire kutanga kuipawo neZANU-PF. Don't you think that we have to start now instituting sanctions against them because they're abusing our money, our people, and us at the same time, our money? There comes a time whereby we need to be cognizant to know madofa mwa promoter guy. Takamboshtara tikati ativenge vanhu vese veZANU-PF, kuna mwana anofunga veZANU-PF. Aya madofa murikuisa, bvisai madofa murikuisa. The whole bunch is useless. Must go out. Kana tichinzwa toita politics nevanhu, ngatiite politics nevanhu vanonzwisisa, vanoziva zvikuitika munyika. Noti ngonotora mumwe munhu womupropa apo motora mari dzedu movapa mari dzedu. Makutanga kuti no, idzi mari dziri deserved nevanhu venhingire veZANU-PF. Almost 2 billion is remitted by you people, but that money that you remit by the end of the day is being said, ticheta matenda achabenefita kana uri weZANU-PF chat. That's a man and that's a regime that is clueless, just going to pick up some loyalists who can defend their position without actually being cognizant of what is supposed to be prevailing, how to build an economy, how to give the economy back to the people. But you are giving back the economy to the Nigerians and the Chinese. Sis, man. So. We are doing something, we are bringing Dangote. Hatina na mai mabillionaire, hatina vanashingi mtasa vese, hatina vanhu vekuti vangona kubenga mari dzavo munyika medu asi kuda kunoibhengesa kuNigeria. Kuri kuuyawo mama-Christians uku, makambonzwa Dangote achitaura anything about building, I mean about the killing of Christians there. Maybe it's because he's Muslim. Because zvinokuaurayiwa vanhu, zvinokuuraya vanhu muSudan kwese uko. Then you are saying, no, this is the prime type of a businessman that we are going to bring into Zimbabwe. We are a Christian nation, for God's sake. What if he brings his influences there? Because you're actually allowing him actually to bring in his money there. There are things that we need to be privy of. We can't actually be running away as a society with where Mnangagwa ngaite zvaanoda kusvika paasvika. This has actually shown us that, no, basically the man is a foreigner. He never honors Mazimbo, he never honors kana kutaya ku-elevator, kana irrespective of unobhile makupi. Zvaunofunga chete jedza kwandiri is supposed to be valuable. Kuti unosupporta ani kana ani, but as long as it can make Zimbabwe go forward or be pushed and be propelled further, that is what counts. Not why democracy is a stupid fallacy sometimes. We need to look into all those things. Because the democracy would be zvinhu zvatinoita isusu tichicontributa zvofanira kubenefita vane ZANU-PF. Ndiani ari kuno kunze kuno kushandira vane ZANU-PF kuti kwai vaite zvavanoda nemari yatotumidzira. There are things angojedza tichataura, but zviri kuitwa kana nanhingiriro izvi, it's common, but at the same time they must also learn also to develop. Look here, even during espionage, this is espionage by the end of the day. You need to have codes, you need to know how to communicate, you need to know how to about, you know. Sometimes say what you mean but don't mean what you say. It's there. They refine their processes and stuff like that. Otherwise, they say 1 1 1 1 1 1. To Saratisina leaders in the country, then what are we supposed to do? Apachina time honeymoon, muchiona kana yeke kuba wacho naita kukubuira. Asi kuda munhu in this way, you can see the man can't think in terms of whatever, and he knows that these guys are a threat. The only way to do it is either by actually ensuring that, you know, these ones' mouths cannot say anything. But isusu tineraki, let's amplify the voices. Kana tichimotovaudza chokwadi ngatingovaudza chokwadi. Apana zvavanoziva. Tamsanga has always said, why don't you come to Zimbabwe? But he is there. He can't even do anything. He would rather come to listen to ideas here because the moment you get in ZANU-PF, you outsource your thinking. Your capability is eroded because you can't actually take out or express whatever you want to. Let's do this and anybody can listen to you. There is erosion and corrosion in that party. Yes, currently people are, okay, who doesn't like money? Everybody likes money. But I think now it's a rude awakening because people are beginning to see the optics. And Tamsanga, carry that to your people and please try and go and source for ideas somewhere, please, man. You can't convince us, to come and do anything about Zimbabwe. And these optics of actually giving the Dangotes the resources of the children of Zimbabwe and the Chinese, it's not working, my brother. And we won't stop talking. And this 2030 nonsense also, and also whatever is happening, go and tell them to stop it. It doesn't actually help us. Otherwise, Zimbabwe shut up because of being power hungry. Yet the country has always been okay. Thinking that we are supposed to be respectful, but in the long run, you are stretching people too far. You are testing my resilience and my boundaries, which you are not supposed actually to be stretching. Let's not reach to those boundaries, and it's not okay, Uncle Tamsanga. Go and tell your bosses that. Tell them just to forget about 2030, and we continue moving as a normal people, and we wait for elections, and then we continue as normal people. Thank you, Uncle Jedza. Thank you, Uncle Titus. Those that Mazogera in.
Aiwa. No, thanks for Bish. Thanks for that. In the Murkungo Rifia Kuna Tamsangas. Did I miss something? It is what it is.
No, I'm just telling you, it is what it is.
No, he's just using me as a point person.
No, you're Tamsanga. If I talk about you when you're not here, people will say, no, don't talk about Tamsanga.
No, I'm okay. I was just reassuring.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. He's just using me as a point person.
It's just the truth and the reality that you need to take to your bosses. Just carry it as it is undiluted. Because this is the politics that we're used to, and this is frank politics. Truth to power. Thanks.
Right. Move there as Mudise, Tagasina Morrisana.
Right. Murise, mim.
Bobo, Marara Zulbo.
Zulbo. Zimbabwean, anytime in Zimbabwean, 24 hours, even 12 hours can be a long time in Zimbabwean situation.
Mugane Zuro Tanga Tubutara Nezanya, Yawasikala. Who thought good one, Asuno to Fuma Star and Yabiti.
But I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Is there information here to me? Are they just trying to intimidate, or was BT supposed to have a presser or?
No, BT is not even. Is not even in Harare. Yeah, he's not even in Harare. Saka, these guys, they just woke up vakangoti regai timboshanyira vabiti ndofunga vangada unoudzwa mutemo here hanyanzi
Biti akasangana namondlane kuningirire kuMozambique pakaenda kuningirire. I think that is one of the reasons why, because remember there's this thing which we always say, the opposition parties need to unite in SADC. Probably that's one of the reasons why they are there. Maybe they thought he's back or something.
So have they had access to inside his offices, or they just camped outside?
No gate rangarakakiwa. Saka, yeah, they just go to the gate and started to interrogate the helper. Ndofunga mkomana ano maintain the property or the grounds or whatever. Saka anzi vanga vakutomuti saka panapa pachaitwei, and he was like, koimima nditi mimi ndimauya panapa like you should know.
There was somebody this was a meticulously executed thing, operation by the anti-ED 2030 movement to flush out the more in them, give out wrong information and see the reaction of the state. I don't know, but maybe it's just a theory information is real, or it's just them trying to intimidate. I don't know.
Yeah, ibaba ndo pasingazoziva. Munoziva kuti pane nyaya dzakadai, so people come up, with all kind of stories.
Absolutely.
And kind of explanations. That probably it's because of this, or probably it's because of that, but I'm not sure. But anyway,
For
according
the
to
record,
how
mine was purely speculative. I have no facts.
oh, you want to cover all the bases, huh?
Kana mufa nemathiori akawanda mukoma wako ataurawo zvimwe pana
Tikuda DNA apo tisati tanyanya kupanana mhosva. Dzimwe mhofu dzenyu idzi.
Aiwa, speculation kana dzatiri kutaura. Kangotoka tichingospeculate panapa. Makambotaura kuti zviri definite iri panapa inini, Panapa kambotaura kuti zviri definite panapa.
Aiwa, kufarawo hangu. I mean, but it's
speculation ya HH yazonyanya please. Hey.
No, but let's be serious, guys. Let's be serious. That one is not speculation. This is a man who wants to hold on to power, and he has already proposed. No, he wants a third term. It's not a speculation. And he's going to try because the constitution hinders him. And I heard that he's already started playing around with the constitution. And then should you actually manage to continue? And you can see the stage is being set. Zvifuti zviri kurirarira apo nepapo kunziparira chifuti panapa. Mangwana munhu yeye aita zvaari kuda mangwana achatanga kutaura kuti right vanhu ngavarohwe. Apedza kuita zvaari kuita otanga kuita zvekuti Mama Siluhu is actually placed there by God. Saka Satan ari papi manje papo. Saka vanhu va demonstrate against that vari kutedzera zvaSatan. Saka uyu munhu wechurch, let's be honest, musavadhawo kafuti yechurch. Masavadha kuti temesa musoro teneti, musavadhawo kuti church. Let's not forget that. And the iye anozoziva hunhu hwaMnangagwa. But why is he actually going all out actually to do what he's doing? Actually going to say to Mama Siluhu munhu akatywa naMwari auraya vana vake. Saka imimi hanzvadzi yenyu angojedza ikauraya vana venyu mofanirwa kutiudza kuti hanzvadzi yangu zvayauraya vana vayo moziva no angabatwa yake nemweya mutsvene. Ndozvamungatiudze izvozvo kuti aiwa no Mwari vangapindwa neshoko vauraya vana vavo. But the president, who is a Christian, who lives in Zambia, says that. Tochiti isusu haiwa no tiri kuspeculator too much. It's like as if to run on a secret society panapa. And we always talk about my global neocons being actually our problem. But when I'm looking for masomo nezvozvitarisa izvozvo. Zvinhu zvakaitika kuMozambique zvakatangana kuitika kuZimbabwe. Zvinobva zvaitika muMozambique. Zvaitika muMozambique ndobva iko zvichiitika muTanzania. MuTanzania chichi kufa hotel. These are, it's just the same pattern. It's repeating itself. People are killed after they resisted the sitting incumbents. And after it happens, Tochiti kwaya hazvisinoitika kuZambia. Unless maybe if he listens to these things and then he decides not to do it. But the way that we are seeing it happening in Kenya, whoever Wicknell has met, either you lose or you kill. This is actually a precedent that we are actually seeing. Wherever Wicknell goes, either you lose, if you win, you rig, or you kill. That's it. No optics that because he is visiting those people. He is not the foreign affairs minister, but something Zimbabwe is selling to those leaders. And the Zimbabweans are selling a product which they are actually well versed and well experienced in. How to survive in power. It's not a product that comes packaged in a wrapper and say, no, for you to survive in power, no, we're going to put it on a shelf. No. Those things are spoken quietly. Don't know where HH yangu jedza yo. Takatoitarisa takaona tinoperera kupi. Zvikadzosera muTanzania motoziva, sorry, muZambia motoziva kuti nekwenyu kuti do or die. Ndonyaya iripo chokwadi iyoyo.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Can I go to Mangisi Elvis, and then Stembiso you come after. Mangisi. Stembiso.
Good afternoon, Ango and all the listeners, also the speakers. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, nazvanyanya kuwanda zvangu zvandakutaura but ndakataura zvangu was so concerning about other tamsaka because sometimes zvimwe zvinhu zviri clear unotozviona kuti panapa aiwa, but you try to defend something like that. I don't think it was wise for him to do so. I follow him every time I follow him, I listen to him. It looks like he's a very intelligent guy, but some of these things he's deflecting. I don't know why, but some of these things, it's not something that you can come up and say, no, maybe they wanted to protect. If you want to protect me, you let me know. No, we had there's something that might happen there. We are coming there. So if you just come without even informing me, then it's something else. So on this matter, we already know how they operate. And also I like my brother who was just a previous speaker, who was touching about ZANU-PF is selling all those countries like Tanzania, all those countries like Kenya. What is really happening? Now they are learning from ZANU-PF because the ZANU-PF, they've been doing this for quite long. So they know how to do it. They have got experience. So in this matter of HH, and right now he shows what he wanted to do. Now you see, now if he continue and be against Mnangagwa, now he wanted to stay in power. So what did he do? He come to Zimbabwe because he know that these people, they've got knowledge, they've got experience to do it. That's why he come to Zimbabwe. He wanted also to stay in power. And if you can see, he was the one who was speaking on the Tanzania inauguration of President Ngari. And because he himself, he want to be a dictator. Now he want also even though if he's failing. And so Pasongo touchwapo na blaze yangu about what I'm very wrong about my SDA. No, there is nothing to do with my SDA. Because if you are touching the whole church. Yes, there are leaders who are coming from that church, but we cannot say my SDA, yes, and not President of Zambia and the SDA. But it doesn't mean what everyone at SDA they are supporting or is how they do things. No, it's different. So
don't worry, Stembi. I know the church, but I'm just saying with hey, church my leaders I have to tell me some story, especially in politics. I would tell me some story. Oh,
yeah,
I'm not saying your church is wrong. No. I know. I mean, evilness can go in a church. It doesn't mean that the church is wrong. No. Because what to never are evil, Mapostori, never are evil, SDA, never are evil in all the churches, even Pentecostal churches. You can even say that I'm just saying my SDA, but not for people, no, for the people in leadership. Okay.
No, my brother, no. Thanks very much. Because I was just talking about that. No, guys. Some in Seventh Day there are people of integrity. There are a lot of them. I've been grew up in that church for quite long. I've been since I can see I born in SDA. So these things, even myself, I'm not happy about what is happening. Issue of Tagure and whatsoever. Yes, our church is also included in this issue, but doesn't mean that everyone in church maybe they are like what he's doing. We know the history of Zimbabwe, and what I actually know of what he's doing is protecting his wealth and protecting his property. He's there where he is right now, Tagure, because he wanted to protect his properties. Because there's no other way that he has been quiet for quite long, but now we see now.
Stembi, can I ask you something? You SDAs have got laws. You censure people in your church, and you censure people. Yes. Tagwire has gone above board, even as far as the unions, the divisions, and he has brought polarizing and toxic politics in the church. Why isn't the church acting actually at the head level in the United States of America? Why? Because SDA, When the church fails to act,
let me just give you a clarifier. I don't want. I think I know why they are so quiet. What I can tell you is that kuti muchechi menyu munzi mune somebody who is a president or who is a prime minister in that church is like a pride. You understand? So if there are people who are raising for the top position in politics while they are attending your church, sometimes they will be becoming biased, those top leadership. It's what I feel and what I think. Because we also need...
It's not the first time SDAs have had people who are in power. Even in the Fiji Islands and stuff like that, they have Papua New Guinea, they've had presidents. What I'm asking you is, why are you trying to... why is now the church willing to be associated with a blood-shedding party, and one of your own congregants subscribe to that, and nothing is banned by your division? Because what matters here is the killing of people. The killing of people doesn't just come with the pulling of a trigger. The shortage of medicines in the hospital is the killing of people. The shortage of jobs is the killing of people. So whatever is happening in Zimbabwe, Intagwire is Adventist and subscribing to whatever ethos ZANU-PF is actually projecting is the killing of people. And the church is actually absolutely quiet about it. Why?
No, but you know that some of this matter cannot just be escalated to the top levels out of the country. Some of this matter must be handled within the country. So within the country, if those people who have got power to do so, they accept it, or they are included in this issue, like they also feel, or they have a hunger that in Zimbabwe maybe one day will be led by SDHH. Doesn't mean that all those who are below, like us, maybe we are.
I think you need to go and sit down with Maponga, because I think you won't give me a proper answer. I think Maponga might help. Yeah, if Maponga was here, maybe I would listen. Your answer is actually vague and sketchy.
Yes, no, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't give you a proper answer. But as you are saying, even if I can ask you, any church in Zimbabwe, if there is somebody from that church who is raising above, then the support will be there. But it doesn't mean that everyone is supporting. Me myself, I already see what you have been doing, Tagure, and I'm not supporting everything what he's doing. I'm against what he's doing. Even myself. But some of these things, because we are below and those who are on top, they know their reason, or if it's money playing, it's not this issue of money is playing in politics, also in church as well. Thank you very much.
All right.
I think that's for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. Mangisa, are you there now?
Yeah, I'm now alive.
Okay, take the mic.
Yeah, I would like to give my submission in 4 parts. Firstly, I would like to touch on the siege at BT chamber offices by the police. You know, in Zimbabwe, when people talk about my reforms, how can we have a nation properly structured? We need to understand the police in Zimbabwe. When I know when I say police, how do people join the therapy? What methodologies are used to recruit these people? What kind of training these people undergo? You see, our police is so far behind in terms of them being a public relations officers, maintaining law. You see, their training is not really geared to them understanding the law and how, because the police is not there to really become a law under themselves. The police must be there. That's why there is public relations. You see, even if you commit a crime, that is why you see in civilized societies, the police are supposed to move around with cameras and recorders, so that whatever they are going to do, whether they are coming to, even if they are arresting a terrorist, every human being has rights, so that whatever they are doing must be recorded. in order for it to be proven in a court of law that what they were doing was above board. But we have our police, the way they are trained, the way they operate, even if you see them at roadblocks and so forth, that's not a police. That's not a national police talk about. Why I don't zvichiko zvaitarwa munguva dzeino vaishandiswa kufront kwakune mapurisa evarungu kwoita vanhu vaishandiswa kufront uko vanenge ndoona vachinzi roiva. I don't know team yaishandiswa whatever team it was being. It's the same methodology. What we did was we adopted the Rhodesian method of operating a state. We converted it to our own use. That's why my laws empower. It's a Tagari way of dealing with society, not a civilized way of dealing with society. Hakuna mpurisa ne right ekurowa munhu, hakuna mpurisa ne right yekusuka munhu achimtsika achita. But that's what they do. You see, avafambi nemakamera havana chinhu chinoiti recorder interaction yavo nemusungwa. Musungwa ana right anokosva akapinzwa mukamba meme kusva kuseri kwokura bhutsu gara pasi kurohwa mapama. They abuse the people, the police. Hatina police yake. Katira nezvemasecondary reforms chikoti hatina police yacho. Even army atikuta nezvekuti inosekiwa in the national intelligence sovereignty. Let's look at how they are recruited, their kind of training, what they are taught when they are being trained. Do we need to look up to those people to safeguard the nation's integrity? Do we need to look into those people to safeguard my rights? No, we will never get those rights from being safeguarded by that kind of people. So now it is in place, following whatever gossip, following whatever reason they are there for. But this is barbarism in action that we are seeing. That's why previously I was saying, people, we need to understand that the people on the ground, they are at a greater risk when we are dealing with this regime. They will be persecuted, they will be killed. A lot of things will be happening in order for them to ensure that their so-called Vision 2030 comes to pass, in order to ensure whether it's Vision 2030 or whether it's putting Tavure as the next president, whatever. They are not going to use democratic means. They will use every means possible. We saw it happen in previous days. Tagore was in Chungwiza zone 1 or 2 meetings and the like. But if because for a meeting at his offices, the police are already there, not to safeguard, but to make sure it doesn't happen. But when they are having their own meeting, they do it willy-nilly. Now I come to the question of HH. HH has now come to Zimbabwe. Memorandum of understanding, what? He was in Tanzania and the like. We know HH wants to have a term extension. But before we go to his wayward way that he has now followed, because he is now showing that he is becoming another despot. But before that, when HH represented for us in 2023, heading the SADC observer team and the like, you see, what we did as a nation and as a people was to throw him under the bus. The report came, condemned the elections and so forth. What did we see happening? We see people going to parliament. We see people taking oaths of office to be members of parliament. Then, in the same vein, we saw a leader of the opposition resigning from politics and the like. Zambia had tried to stand for us. But what did we do? We did what was contrary, throwing somebody under the bus. So at the end of the day, what does that person do? He realized that I'm wasting my time. Why can't I just join this club? Because at the end of the day, the democratic principle that they are trying to build, they're nowhere. They're nowhere to be seen. The opposition, the way they start to realize, look at Mozambique. There was a crisis. Now the opposition leader is part of government. As an advisor, what is part of government. What do you think those governments who will be heavily supporting those demonstration processes think? They're thrown under the bus. We need to leaders who stand for principles, no matter what happens, not to stand for convenience when it suits them. Today you are saying people will less, tomorrow you have changed, you have joined the very same people. See, this lack of principles in us as leaders is very dangerous. It just creates chaos everywhere. Now we have got this situation happening in Tanzania and like, for now, in terms of Southern Africa, we have Namibia. Namibia, the president in Namibia, if you study well, you follow a trajectory, that lady is very good. You go to Botswana, Boko is very good. You go to the Traore guys, the Sayo region. Those guys, they are very pro-Pan-African. What are we doing? to reinforce that Pan-Africanism that is building up. Because that Pan-Africanism that is building up is a threat not only to the disposed, it's also a threat to global hegemony. You see, because the group of guys, they want us to be all over the world as the economic rate begins, providing them with the cheap labor. We can be deported in time. Our visas can be curtailed in time. We do not have rights. We are there to safeguard, to sustain their systems. We are there to come all over the world. We'll be renting, paying council taxes, doing this and that, so that we sustain their economy. But at the end of the day, they don't send for us. Now, when they see Africa rising, they fight against it. When they see Africa rising, we've got our own African brothers who are fighting against the rising of Africa. We've got an African Union, the chairperson congratulates Tanzania. The AU observer team says the elections were not proper. Then at the end of the day, we start to ask ourselves, what are we really doing? Where are we really going? Then I will land by giving two more submissions on the SDA connection. People must be very worried about churches or religion. I know this is a sensitive topic. A lot of us are very foolish and naive to a point in extent that they believe that there are certain people who speak with God. This is nonsense. There is no, if another person can speak to God, what makes you unable to speak to God? How can an individual claim that I speak to God, I have got the authority to communicate on behalf of God, I receive prophecy and revelation? You see, religion itself, when you study the Old Testament, its origin, who wrote the Old Testament, who wrote the New Testament, when you study the Quran, who wrote the Quran, why was it written? Why was Islam established? Why was Christianity established? Who established it? For what purpose? We began to, this religion has been used all along to manipulate and control the masses. But we are enlightened today. Yet we've got people who are graduates from universities. They go to a church, they are giving principles, they are giving bricks, this and that. And you start to question yourself. They go to a church, a pastor, they is saying the earth is flat. In this generation, graduates from university, doctors, surgeons, they are being told that this earth is flat. And you start to question, what kind of people are we? This SDA thing, it's a religion, yes, but we must understand that all these religions, at the end of the day, what they want is power and control over the people. They let Tabure do what he does. They let Akainde do what he does because it promotes their religion. They are not there to save souls or do what they are there to gather people. The more you are gathered in those assemblies, like the more those who lead those institutions gain more. You are going to pay tithe, you are going to pay offering. The influence that they get from you, the resources that they are going to get from you congregating around them, is what they are concerned about, not any deliverance of any soul. Then I will finally want to touch a very sensitive part. I will not talk about it much, but I will talk it in brief. The question of nations being sovereign, or the question of reserve banks. I am talking this in line with what we are talking about, the failure of Africa, or this siege that we are seeing happening in Zimbabwe and so forth. You see, or some people have been also talking about Dangote coming to invest and that. There is a very dangerous disease that is upon this world. People do not understand money, what money is about, how money is established, how money builds society, and so forth. Right now, we are busy looking for investors and so forth. We are busy looking for loans and so forth. But if we sit down to question, where are these loans coming from? Where does IMF get its money from? Who prints the money that IMF goes around giving the people loans, collateral, what? Who is printing the money? Right now, United States has got a debt of trillions reserving. The debt is never paid. But how does the system continue to operate? How come do we as a sovereign people in sovereign nation, why can't we have a functioning currency and have our people on the ground to build the systems, industries, factories, construct roads? You see, all these things can be done. But we have leadership that do not see a vision. They go around begging in the world when we have got the means and ways of sustaining ourselves and getting through and breaking through, developing our nations, bringing the people in the diaspora. Zimbabweans are suffering in the diaspora, South Africa, wherever you go, burning and so. But we can put all these people in the farms, in the factories, in the industries, all at once. We do not need 5-10 years to do that. But we have leaders that do not understand how these things operate. At the end of the day, people go around buying chicken in and chips, giving to the people. I saw just a day ago, people in a bus, they've been given, maybe it was 500 grams, I don't know, of seed maize. They've been going to a meeting. They call it empowerment. Now it's raining. They are being given those. When I was growing up myself in the rural areas, we did not receive a grain, seed, or fertilizer from the government. The people at cooperatives, that they will buy their own fertilizer, they will buy their own maize seed. In time when they will be selling among themselves as cooperatives. But who made us so poor to extent that we have now become beggars? The command, this command that people need to live on handout, kumbuza this is kumbuza that. At this age, and we are continuously saying we have got a revolutionary party. Anybody who is saying he is supporting such a thing, calling it a revolutionary party, into me, I'm sorry to say this, such kind of mentality is idiot. You cannot talk of a situation where we have people who are very bankrupt in their mind. You will see that what is happening is outdated. They've collapsed the NRZ, we have collapsed every other thing. Vendors all over the place. This is how they left the people. And you say our GDP has grown from 58 billion to 52 billion. We, the people in the diaspora, we need to start becoming organized. The 2 billion that we are sending home, it's good to send people money home so that they go to the clinic, they buy food in that. But we need to start thinking aloud and bigger to say, how can we fund a movement? How can we fund a revolutionary platform that is saving us the future? So that at the end of the day, we do not need to be sending people money who are asking for school fees, food, this and that. People must be self-sustaining. We want self-sustaining villages. We have this concept of saying, let's put a solar ball of a village with the gardens, this and that. Who is doing it? Tungwarara went around selling that idea. How many balls have been done? How many villages have benefited from it? No one knows. We are just being used, being recycled, being used. And our politics is now so dirty. Politics of sell out. People who think that if I get 1,000 in my pocket, I can sell out. Let's avoid those things. Let's understand that in order for us to be free, we need to sacrifice. We need to have a system that we have that will transform Zimbabwe into a better nation. Zimbabwe can be transformed into a new order of society that can send waves to the world, a new global epicenter of excellence. Look at Singapore. Look, right now, Africa, Southern Africa, it's all Tatars. Southern Africa, Africa itself, the continent needs a capital city. Where is the capital city? Can we transform Zimbabwe into the capital city of Africa, of Southern Africa? Can we realize that as a nation, we can do something better for ourselves? Let's avoid this system of trying to protect and preserve a system which is rotten. Let's win off from ignorance or arrogance, whatever it is, and start to think and realize that we can become a greater people. That is what is a greater Zimbabwe. We can become a greater people, who is an example to the world of how do we transform our society. All over the world, companies all over the world. Why can't we bring them on board? Right now, why don't we see them on board in terms of governance of the nation? When we have got the people, quality limit, this other guy Mtambara, university, day in, day out, professor. What are we doing as a nation and as the people? Let's wake up, man. Let's try to become a bit different, man. I will come back later. For now, let me give other people a chance.
Right. Madi.
No, ndaida ngoti point yataurwa na Elvis yekuti akataura NRZ and other structures that have gone to the floor. Don't you think the department in the government that makes sure they stay in power, I think is more important, because what you see is that department is also responsible for attacking, say, anyone who opposes. Counterintelligence. It seems they spend a lot of time, a lot of money, efforts in not in developing the country, but in staying in power and curtailing anyone who wants to oppose, anyone who wants to think. And also you've got then another department which is important is the cheerleaders. People who say whatever little development they do, they'll come in and try to make it like it's a very big deal. Look at what we've done, Takavaka Road, look at Trababalas, look at that. So what I'm trying to say is I think my priorities, instead of developing the country, they are more focused on staying in power. They are more focused on stopping anyone who wants to come in. So they actually put more resources in stopping other people. They put more, all this Jatrungwana is just an example that the Tendai Biti and sending all these people. My resources is extra money, but I think there is actually a budget that is reserved to say how do we stop anyone who wants to come and how do we maintain power. Then Toramba Chingoba. So the time for development, to say how can we cement, how can it come back, NRZ, how can we, Air Zimbabwe airport is not that busy for a country that should be that busy, Department development, proper infrastructure development and development of the country. I don't think they've got priority. I think the priorities are somewhere else, and maintain power at all costs. So I think that's where they put more of their resources. So it was just buttressing point, Elvis. But we can go ahead.
Right, okay. Tezara two boy. Two boy, are you there? Right, okay. Child of Zim.
Thank you once again for another opportunity to speak. Tinotenda inini ndasimudzwa nenyaya yanga ichitaurwa yekuti when our brother who is in SDA starts telling us that there are people right at the top who might be supporting it, but even there might be other people who are not.
Marasika mulupu saka mufana udodzika.
Can you hear me?
Me, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the thing is, we come back to our white feather. Vatondita nditodzoka ndichida kutaura ndichipromota nyaya yangu yekuti tirikuda kupa vanhu mapapiro. Vakaramba vachitaura zvakadai, hanzvadzi yangu tichavatumira mapapiro ewhite nekuti isu hatidi varume vanonyarara zvinhu zvichiitika zvakadai muZimbabwe. Hatidi varume vanoramba vakagara vakanyarara, even in their institutions which have been overtaken by rogue elements, and they keep quiet. We are encouraging our male counterparts to come up and speak up and act, not just to come and speak on spaces, to gather, unite and speak with one voice when they are against certain things, even in the institutes that they believe in. Boravaya and Highlanders were saying, come up and speak up against things that are being done that are helping and assisting in the oppression of the people of Zimbabwe. Vanhu vaya vekumachechi anenge achiita izvozvo who believe that we are an oppressed people and these people are helping and facilitating in our oppression should galvanize and speak up. Failure to do so, we shall definitely be giving out white feathers to those who have been cowardized, who used to be quiet while the people of Zimbabwe suffer. While the oppressed people continue to die in hospitals, continue to die of hunger, and our children walk 15 km to go to school, 45,000 children are school dropouts, and these men stay in institutions that are supporting our oppression and continue to stay there in quietness as though everything is okay. Business is not usual in Zimbabwe. We want the men to continue to speak up and talk. Otherwise, we shall continue to give out white feathers to those who continue to stand in cowardice and refuse to stand up and talk for the child of Zimbabwe who cannot speak, who refuse to talk for the civil servants who are continuously in like they are living in utter poverty, and they refuse to speak while they stand in these institutions. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Can I get? Is it Fide? Fide.
Yeah, thank you so
Fidelis.
much. Get maswera sei panapa.
Musha murisengo.
Aiwa ndinofara.
Tinotenda.
Rega ndinopigirawo zvangu mashoko maviri matatu ataurwa namukoma Elvis pamusoro apo. I think inini hangu personally politics avemo muAfrica Our politics, you help yourself. If you don't help yourself, nobody can help you. I heard people talking about HH, negative, positive, this and that. But the thing is, we need to look at zvinotaurwa ne-opposition nekunge wawe a ruling. Kana wamupower zvinhu zviri different, because kana wamupower you need to look at chii chinounza chikafu patable chekuti mhuri yangu idye. So these guys, they cannot continue sympathizing nema opposition party from other countries, yet mhuri yeZambia inenge ichitambura nenzara. So sub-president, you started to look at ndezvipi zvinokwanisa kuunza food patable so that mhuri yangu yorarama zviri right. So for us to blame anonzani HH, the way yakaenda kuZimbabwe, the way he was before, zvakatosiyana. What he was before, whatever he said the time he was opposition leader, zvatosiyana na right now, because right now he's the president. Kana wawe president, remember kuti vana vako vese vanenge vakatarisa pauriwe. So you need to start look at kuti ndezvipi zvinokwanisa kuunza chikafu patable. Same applies na Nelson Chamisa. If Nelson Chamisa today become a president, kana chikafu chaari kuda chichiwanika kuMozambique, he has to go kuMozambique kunotsvaka chikafu. And if chikafu chaari kuda kuti mhuri yeZimbabwe ikwanise kunengera, ikwanise kurarama, anotokwanisa kuenda kunonzi kuTanzania kunotsvaka chikafu kuTanzania kuti kwani mhuri yake ikwanise kurarama. So pamwe pachona tinogona hedu kublame vanhu avo, vanhu vari kutotsvaka
mukomafidhe batwa idzorwa musadaro. So taurai zvinhu zvinofanirwa kuitika mupolitics, musatudze zvinyaya dzenzara idzi. Zambia has got enough white farmers vari kuproducer surplus in their country, and Tanzania can feed them. Saka mama kutiudza kuti kwai hakutsvaga chikafu kaisi chinyatsoziva nyaya dzaakataura nezvaari kutaura. I mean, let's not actually lie to each other.
Yeah,
taurai zvenyu,
maonero anogona kutisiyana nevakoma, and mafungiro nemaonero anogona kutisiyana. What we think, that doesn't mean that's what exactly out on the ground. And yes, you might think with farmers are equal this and that, but remember with Mazambian vari kutambura right now. HH akamhanyiswa nematombo zvamakaona. Chii chakakonzera kuti HH amhanyiswe nematombo? If I may ask you, ningirini kwacha chero ranga riri palevel riri nani, but if you look at it right now, kwacha raapapi?
Moda kuti tikudze global geopolitics dzinotambika in Southern Africa. Are you prepared?
Yes, I'm prepared to learn. As long as muchingondidzisa, because I am not saying kuti ndogona kuziva zvese. I don't know everything.
Who financed the HH? And when Biden came, who did they go and meet? And vakaenda vese vakanasangana na HH ko vamuzive. Don't underrule the hand of neocons in Zimbabwean politics at all. Never. Can even in Southern African politics, never.
Yeah.
There is the neocon politics in Southern Africa big time, and it's playing out. But what is actually happening globally is that the world is now changing, and at each particular point in time, when the world is shifting, there is a reset that happens. If you look at the Anglo-Dutch War, it was a transition from sails to steamships when the British actually discovered steam, and there was a war because of that, and the world had to realign. Currencies like tulips, which were flowers, that's why you find tulips are very actually, up to now, they are things of high value in Denmark. If you had a field of tulips, you were considered to be rich during that time. Flowers, if you had that field, if you were part of the Dutch system, you could consider to be rich. And when the power was being taken, wars happened because of that. The only war that we didn't actually see, but actually happened probably because of after World War, it was the war between the two cousins, the Americans and the British. Those ones never went to war. And currently we're at such a transition where we are now moving now from an old system into a new system where we're going into AI. And you are seeing the fight of power from the global powers. China wants to dominate, America wants to dominate. And we are busy here, issues of minerals and stuff like that. But in that domination, there has also come a reset also within the biggest empire of the American system, whereby you find there's a party that is linked to the World Economic Forum. They want everybody to own nothing and be happy, live in cities which are regulated and which are digitized, your monies and your everything and the what. There stands another one. Trump is there, says, no, the fact of this is your own record. We're not going to do that. Those are now two contesting powers within each house. And now these powers now are split. One of them going with the other countries like the Europe. You saw what was happening in the European Union and stuff like that. And even what has been happening in Ukraine, forced the drafts. What is being like, if you now look at our leaders now, and even our oppositions, they go and take money from there from overseas. Once they take money from there overseas, who pays the piper calls the tune? That's simple politics. Who pays the piper calls the tune? And now when they're in power now, they are supposed to provide, because you must understand we are actually play a field of resources. That's where now they are supposed to deliver. But now with what is happening in Southern Africa is totally different, because 90% of these liberation parties have been sponsored by the Democrats. If you look at it. Sorry. Power. They've been sponsored by the Democrats. Those guys who are in power now. Zambia, HH was sponsored by the Democrats. You look even at our politics, we are affiliated to the World Economic Forum. I tell you, you own nothing and behave. If someone wants to be king by virtue of that, so bad cognizant of our problems, because there is a power that wants the world to be aligned within that spectrum. Now, we go now to the other power now that is in America now. The power that is in America is telling you, I'm not going to recognize any African president. Wait, emanating from maybe it's because he was almost assassinated, or the values of that other power. Instead of actually saying, no, we're going liberal, they're telling, no, we're going Christian. Now it's you know, but in South Africa, go to the ANC, has been affiliated to the Democrats. Go to the World Economic Forum. Go to Zimbabwe, World Economic Forum or opposition, the Democrats. Go to Zambia, the Democrats. Go to Kenya, you'll find Bill Gates there is the end of the Democrats. Go in the Atlantic, what do you call it, Foreign Council and the peace. Then go to other places again, you'll find those hands. But then look at the patterns which are happening in these countries. These presidents are voted out of power, but by virtue of force, they'll end up killing or doing something like that. And we know some of these people, they belong to secret society. The Kenyan parliament is full of Freemasons. If you remember, the South African parliament was also burnt. And the thing was that the person who burnt it is saying he's mad and is actually alluding to Freemasonry and the Illuminati and stuff like that. So now we've got a people now who go to any length and order that is not actually preaching democracy to them, because this new order also wants these resources. It's a contestation now between now within the same family. They want those resources. And those resources, they don't care at what cost. They will instill any government, even at the peril of a gun. That's why I personally always say our politics has been riddled by the global neocons and our people going to take money from the West. And when that happens, those people are forced and they are told, no, you got to be in power at all costs, sit. If it means kill, kill. Last time it was now actually alluded to say, no, Silu is actually aligned now to the people now who are actually in the United Arab Emirates. And these ones who are probing her to stay in power, who are not even foreign ministers or whatever, where do they belong to? To who do they belong to? Like the weakness. In what capacity does he speak? He can only speak if he is in the capacity of listen to me properly, secret society that is controlling the powers that be. That is what happens. Now, this you might say it's a conspiracy, it's whatever. Take it the way that you like it. Take it the way that you want. But when conspiracy sometimes happens and then it ends up being reality, then we know that, I mean, it is the reality. So I think the time of Corona, the whereby I was in countries to send off of anything. If They didn't want, and if they wanted Pfizer vaccines. But the same vaccines right now, if you now go back now to the what you call it, to why were they used, you're finding that, I mean, even the people in the American Congress, they're now saying, no, these things, they make your blood clot. And then the powers that actually brought this, we know that they even said, hey, the world population is too high. This is happening. We need to reduce the world population. And some of them are the ones who are advocating, no, Africa got too many people, go to replace Africa. So by the end of the day, if the power that we are about to inherit is aligned to the global neocons, and it wants to become a king, what's our future going to be like?
Right. Okay.
Those are questions that we must ask. Are we just talking about our local politics or our regional politics, global politics? Is what this aligned in Africa? Otherwise, we are doing it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Right. Can we get Black Panther to come through? Black Panther, can you unmute your mic?
Oh, just 5 minutes. Let me just find a safe place to park.
Or you're driving? Ah, okay. All right.
Uncle Jesse, I just want to ask for a minute as he parks. Just a minute.
Yeah, usazorebesa ngimna mato.
I don't go a minute. The previous speaker, I would a proper perspective of what politics should be about. You see, global politics, we are now in a global village. That is what you diaspora, Marco America, Australia, but you are gathering at one. That's the goodness of a one technology. Global politics is about teacher that any perspective, range from national, regional, continental, then international level. Politics zedu gadzireke kubvedza nyangwe limited kunzi tingotaura nezvekuzimbabwe kana nezvekumasvingo kana politics, let them be guided by global zvinhu zviri kuitika right in the global world. What is happening to United Nations, African Union, SADC, Zimbabwe, chichi kuitika kuUkraine, chichi kuitika kuna Sudan, kuna Palestine. Politics zedu dzikagraduate to that level yekuunderstanda zvinhu zviri kuitika on a global level, tinopinda mutuni nemulaini. But tikave tiri vanhu nemufungo wakashaka kumashure stereke, tinotinetsa kuti tipinde mulaini. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. You can come through Black Panther if you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll be quick. I will just touch on the issue of Tendai Biti. And I will just join it with what other people were saying yesterday in regard to what happened to Job Scala. This kind of more exonerates the idea of some people mentioning that Job is more reckless. You see, because now I think if the regime is targeting certain individuals, it doesn't matter whether you are kind of reckless or not, or how careful you are. It just shows that they are on a rampart of just targeting certain individuals. And they are if it was back in the day, I would say this is more like exposing them. A game plan. But now it seems like we are dealing with a regime. They can do anything, right in front of everyone while the world is watching. That's just the unfortunate part of it now. But yeah, while they are doing that at the same time, the end of this whole thing, it might end up not being in their favor. But the reason that they are doing it zvakutotyisa zvakuda kutoti isusu tigarewo tiri alert kuti chii chiri kumbovashaisa nyadzi kuti vobva vangobudawo full force masikati machena. Right now pana Tendai Biti hatisati tatonyatsoziva kuti what really the issue is, but takutongoona zvinhu zvaita saizvozvi, and we don't even know kuti who is going to be next, although we know kuti these guys were just trying to form a team, that was going to stand against the ED 2030 agenda, right? So we don't know now kuti on the list vanhu vatakaona pekutanga paya pakazobombwa this what's the name, the SEPS, or that venue yavaida kuita that presser. So we don't know kuti everyone who was in attendance there, are they now a target? You see, so all these said developments, they can also even work to our advantage, but we shouldn't really now think that these individuals are cowards, like what I was hearing other people saying yesterday about Job Scala, calling him that the man is reckless and all that. But I think now, politically and Job's political career-wise, this is now even peddling and pushing the men forward. Because most people now, they were crying, now Atina opposition, Atina a formidable opposition in Zimbabwe and all that. Opposition, but here is the man who is willing, maybe not just willing, but maybe willing and able and so much capable. Maybe this whole idea of him being constantly and continuously oppressed by the regime will peddle the idea of him now kuti pachishona toti obva angodya iri hono, for him to be working under somebody's armpit. I think now he will take matters up to him and say, I've been exposed, I've been vulnerable for too long, and maybe push the idea of leading the people. So maybe all we need to do right now, those who've been crying, wachiti tinenzara, tirikuda, we are willing, but atina leadership, because I know some will say we cannot do it on our own. Now there is someone whom you can push, someone whom you can prop, and the good thing about the men.
Black Panther, just a second. I'm seeing another breaking news. Kuti police are now they are camped outside David Gomba's house. Right now. It's coming through. I saw a message from Two Boy, and the Hope also emailed me, inboxed me. So they are also camped at I'll pin on the post there. They are also camped at Mayor Gomba, former Mayor Gomba's house. Yeah, so I'll try and reach out to him and see if I can talk to him. Let me see if I can get in touch with Mayor Gomba. Right, you can go ahead, Mkoma.
All right, no, thanks. So I will land on that, Uncle Jed. So I think I was just sounding like a prophet. Because I was just saying, but we don't know who is next, and what is the regime on. And now you look, there is another one there, and we don't even know who is next. So I think now there are certain individuals targeted, and the idea is maybe to just paralyze them, and then cripple them. And by so doing, and I'm sure the whole idea of anyone amongst ourselves, amongst the people, to just think that one day you can just wake up and say, I'm against the 2030 agenda, I'm against what the regime is doing, is to just instill that level of fear like they've always done in the past. It's so sad. But I think this is the time to go toe to toe, neck to neck, neck on neck, head to head with whatever idea they want to prop right now. So I would advise and urge the people, let's just rally behind our leaders. Let's just rally everyone who is a voice for the people. Like Job Sikala, if he's speaking, Tendai Biti, we saw them, they were speaking, all these people, all these individuals. That we are.
Black Panther. I've got Mayor Gomba on the line. Mayor, tell us what is going on.
No, as early as 7 a.m., there was a small car that came to my house with about 3 people in plain clothes. They then went around my neighbors, giving out their number to say if you see some people getting into my house, they should call the police. Then around 10, a truck with police officers then came and camped outside my gate, and they are just roaming around, and they are still there.
So did you ask them why they're there?
I haven't, but some of them went to my neighbor and said whenever there are activities at my house, they should be calling them. They then went back to their camp. Then they called the neighbor to say there's a truckload of police officers that are going to come there to monitor activities at my house. So the neighbor then gave that information to people at my house.
Right.
So then I went out to see. That's when I saw a truckload of them there. Then I asked people to take pictures of them so that we get to know what's happening. Then I'm told last week the same truck that came in the morning, the smaller one, came and spent about some 5 hours at the back of my house. There's another house there. They were there in the lane that those people who stayed there used. So it was parked there for some time.
Yeah, quite interesting, this. Right. So they've not even spoken to you why they are camped outside your gate, and what is it that they want? They're just talking to neighbors.
Yes, when I went out, they drove away for about 100 meters. They then choose to park after that 100 meters. They then look for a place to park away from me. But they are talking to my neighbors, and my neighbors are telling me.
You know what I'm finding? That they will talk to your neighbors instead of talking to you.
Yes, they are trying to entice them to give more information pertaining to activities at my house. And I think
have you done any activity at your house in the past weeks or so? Oh, come on. Oh, no. Right. Network and Rasa. Right. Are you there, Mayor? Hello? Mayor Gomba? Yeah, I think connection, challenges. Connection. Let me see if I can try and reconnect with him. Let me see if I can try and reconnect, with him. Wow, this is more.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in the background. Good, why would they be targeting former Mayor Gomba? What will be the story? What has it done?
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy, what is going on. Because he's saying with this, they're coming to, they are camped outside. They are not talking to him, but instead they are talking to the police. They're talking to the neighbors. Huh? And they are asking the neighbors to give them information about activities at his house.
Yeah, that's very, very strange and weird. It's
Yeah, I'm hearing
definitely
phone.
seems
Hold
like
on.
okay.
Right.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, I was asking Gucci, any activities in the past few days, few weeks that can make them to be behaving in this way.
I think they just know that we are advocating for people to be against Vision 2030. I think that's the reason.
Right.
Because it's the same time that they went to former Minister Biti's law firm.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, they were also planning on coming here, and they were also engaging my neighbors here.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it also happened last month when Geza called for that program, that shutdown program that he called. They sent a drone at around 5 to my house.
5 in the evening.
Yes, it was like flying. So we all got to see it. When we saw it, we were discussing amongst myself and my colleagues. But we never thought it was as serious as this now. But they sent a drone, because I've got a bigger Jura.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was for the purposes of them to sniff using a drone to see whether there are people inside.
Ah, right. Yes, because I can see from the images here that the Jura is actually Jura Nigakura.
So that's what's happening here, and that's what happened in the past.
Anyway, thank you very much, for that update. If there's anything, just let us know. We are still continuing the conversation, on the space. But thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Right. Yeah, bagai apa mbaba chozo shoba ni juro. Lagareba. Zadubirwa drone avara Zimbabwe so. Ena drone ngikubhodha uko munoona kana ena drone mapako umu. Munoona kuti izvo ningi hapana vari kuita here illegal poaching uko vari kutora era zvipembere zvedu vachitora nyanga uko vachinogadzisa mushonga kunana China. Bizi kuswera niki makasona nani nevanhu ai nyika izoka aindaneta nenyika ya vakaipa makwikwi ya saka that was Mia Gomba on the line. Goma Black Panther sorry zvenyu nokukatai, but I needed to have that on because vanga vanditizo vanongowane a few minutes to spare, but that is the update is was being reported by I saw that you wrote something about that. So Tezwara to boy, thank you very much for that quick reaction in terms of sending that information to me, because nyaya inofana kurohwa kanhengecha pisa kuitira kuti vanhu murambe muri up to date nezvinhu kuti izvo zvii zviri kuitika in real time. But yeah, that is the story in in the suburbs of Palamori in Harare. Yeah, nyika yedu imahwani. Right, pane vamwe vachida kupa ma-contributions here zangwa 11:58 apa mahungry ndine nzara ndisati breaka fast ndangomuka mbanangonzi pane chinhu chaitika ichi mbanangojamba mbanangojambira pano paspace. Right, pakutoda kabreakfast apa kumana kana pakutoda brunch. Both time breakfast ndingadarika 11:57 yaitova time ndinge brunch iyi. Right, yeah, pane vamwe vachida kutaura here vanhu vamwari, tikupei mukana musazoti ikozvo izvi ninge muri ikoko ninge kuzasi uku masi akataura nezuro kuti potei muchikwira kumusoro musarambe muri kuzasi, but potei muchikwirawo kumusoro uku muchiita sei muchitaurawo so handiti maiziva muchipawo macontributions enyu kuti izvo muri kuzvionawo sei zvinhu zviri kuitika izvi mukati menyika yedu yeZimbabwe. Right. Okay. I see Eli G. You've joined us. Thank you very much and welcome to the. Right, Eli. How you doing?
I'm good, Uncle.
Thank you very much for coming through. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. I think, Uncle, by now, I think we can agree now with the they are all directed to the 2030 thing. I'm sure we can all now sort of see it. But because of this 2030 agenda and resistance and so on. So to me, I'm just getting worried. I don't see. I mean, the guys, yes, they came out. They talked that they want to come together, but ndikonange vari kuita slow kunatsoita formulate whatever it is that they have to formulate, so that people can really support it and so on. As it is to me at the moment, vachikuita kunge vari kuita ma-1-1 kunge zvisiri well coordinated, but enemy yavo iri kutocoordinata zvinhu zvakatosimba zvekutoti varume vari kufanira kutosimba, because kwandiri mumwe achakwadzwa o achatofudzwa ipapapa sefani tichingoitirwa masketch avari kuita ava and so on. So I don't know how it can be encouraged, as a way forward. The group that came together, the groups that came together, or the individuals that came together, to really make it, now a serious thing, not just Kungo Danzi, one or Rangoita come together. At the moment it should be there are now people or a group of people leading others to go against this 2030 agenda, so that many of us can now participate in some ways or another, in this matter, because and so on, and I think it's high time we really, or somebody, or especially the guys who are running at the moment, take it very seriously and so on. I don't know how we are seeing them. Are they really taking steps to make sure that they make it now a legal thing that can really stand up against this thing and garner support from from us as people, from others outside and so on, because vari vega kudai vachatongatsoonesa moto these guys, ED, the way he's doing things, Kwandiri, he's one person I got discovered, this world, you can do anything and no one can touch you if you are in your own territory, and he's just doing it, and the world is just watching, and to me also that is where it really surprises me. What goes on? Someone can be doing things like this, and the world says nothing, and so on, which becomes a very big worry. I don't know how you guys see it, but I think it's high time to get this thing seriously. The other thing I wanted to highlight is, we really also need to be talking from other guys, how the issue of money is now affecting things in this world in particular, because almost everywhere there is now a use of money to control how outcomes come out, and it's happening now, West in Africa. Most of these guys, most of these presidents who could have been standing even for the truth, the moment they are maripa table, they are changing and they are prepared to rig and so on. People were talking about Chivayo going in other countries. We are the ones who first discovered those Israelis can come in with their way of rigging machines and rig elections, which the world cannot do anything about. So all the other guys are consulting now, how can I do it to stay in power? So it's getting really out of hand, and I think sometimes we really need to look at those issues. Are these issues not at play here? Because the other thing is, these international guys, they're looking at the side. Are they not benefiting? Because there are resources here that they need and so on. is it not easier for them to get resources when a country is in tatters like this and so on? And they will look at the side when things are going in tatters so that they benefit out of it and so on. It's an area that we really need to be looking at and thinking seriously. How can we, as a people, challenge it and so on? Because it seems like we are in for a big trouble with with these guys. They are doing what they want and no one can challenge, and it seems like everything is red carpet for them and so on. So that's my contribution. I think Anabiti and others really need to make whatever they wanted to do to make it work now. If it has to be registered or whatever it is, make it formal so that people start to support it and start to support them, start to speak out, start to make the nation see, neighbors and international see what's really happening and so on. That's my contribution for today. We all want to be part of it. We all want to be supporting, but let there be something for us to be able to tap into so that we really fight this battle together. But otherwise, no, thank you for the space and thank you for everything that you do. Thank you very much, Angos.
Thank you very much, Mkoma Tendai. I do appreciate you. Right. I do appreciate the contribution. Right. Pande wangu wacheda utawareirona why? Is there anyone else who wants to make a contribution to this topic? As I said, good, it was just something that I'm not meaning to be. There's something that I'm doing. This is not something that I'm garabana hour upon hours. And she just said kurukura. But I thought this was important. This was important, for us to have a conversation on, because it is speaking to the issues that we have been, talking about for some time now. Yeah, for some time now, and it is like right. So if you want to say something, you can. Mangisi, you have come back.
Yeah, just in landing as we conclude our discussion. You see, guys, when you look into this whole thing, I'm delighted that there are great people who talk about great things from an international perspective of questioning with it. You see, it's not just a collapse of Zimbabwe politics; it's a collapse of global politics. Whereby you see, when you study the situation, be it in America, you see, Trump has got these issues, Epstein files, this and that. Those issues, they threaten the collapse of his presidency. Here in UK, we've got Starmer. He has got issues, not necessarily issues of morality, but issues that threaten the collapse of his governance. You look all over the world, in Sudan, you see, the world is in chaos. So, you see, at the end of the day, we need to understand that when the superpowers get involved in whatever territorial issues, it's not like it's out of love. It's out of benefit. What do they benefit? Why is the world silent when these things are happening? At the end of the day, they start complaining, saying, we've got a lot of migrants. Migrants are moving to South Africa. Migrants are moving to here. But when the causes of that migration is happening, is being manufactured, they remain silent. When the issue is overboiled, then they start telling us, I know we need to find ways of returning the migrants. We need deportation, this and that. But the world watches these things happening, unfolding. The world aids these things to happen. You look into Sudan, you hear that some weapons are coming from Kenya, some weapons are coming from the Arab Emirates, but no one speaks out about these issues. So as Zimbabweans, we need to understand that we cannot rely on outsiders to solve our problems. It's high time we understand that China or Russia, United States, UK, Europe, they will not come to redeem us, to save us. The responsibility lies in our hands. The last speaker said, these guys, they are moving slowly. I once said it in a previous space. Kuti problem which vanhu vakataura issue vatachokonza havasi kuziva kuti chii chikuitika paground. They take long. Pavakambotaura nyaya yekuti vanoita press conference. And I thought kuti pasina kana 2 days kati vatotipa program of action patokendo a structure. Up to today there is no structure yekuti saka kana tadai solution yakadai tikufamba nina kupi. Kana previous speaker taura kuti patoda very fast. BIT is an institution, BIT is an organization. Yatoformalizwa, yatoorganizwa, right? Kana tikuri na UK tinanango this kana tikuri tina ningi sisi kamera so bank account titovhura kwakati nekwakati vanhu vaise mari kwakati nekwakati because it's an action and they take a long time. Ingozvi zvona zvobusika aenda kubotswana aenda kwakati asi kuti zvakaipa. It's not bad, but at the end of the day let's look into the realistic situation that we have a crisis which is dangerous. If we've got a crisis which is dangerous and we spend weeks hapana kachapurungwa, that's why vamwauti mafeeders hatina varume kuZimbabwe because hakuna hatisi varume. We're just people who are gossiping. Kana kuti varume going to have a plan fast, plan yekuti zvinhu zvakamira zvakadai so let's organize each other fast. Ngatigadzire institution, ngatigadzire program, action program. Mabank accounts zvinoita achaudyiwa nani, mari dzinenge dzichiiswa nevanhu dzaudyiwa nani, dziri kushandei, masi dakamira sekamira. Because tikanonoka chingotaura avana vachimurwa ahead vane mastate resources vane mase ndisaka kuti una police ozvizvi yaiva kumba yaivo isinei zero titangotaura chingochema uyazobhizwa uyazosungwa zodi hazvibatsiri. We need to have a plan. Masanogara ichitaura kuti hatigoni. It's not just about speaking to the people, but it's about organizing adequate power and motion of countering the background. Isusu ngative nezvinhu zvatogadzirwa. Varume vari kuisa nguva zvakafanira kuti vanhu vanoita kuti tichienda kumastructures tienda kuvanhu kuda kunovhunza vanhu kuti gutu kugutu kumupandawana kumuzarabati kuda kuvabvunzeiko. Tikuda kunovhunza vanhu kupandawana toda kuvabvunze vanhu dzakana mafoni havasi online. Isu tikuziva kuti danger yakamira so, problem yakamira so, tiri kuziva vashoma. Tikavaenga even history zanopefeta haina mbofomiwa nevanhu vakaenda kuudza vanhu muzarabati tufoma zane tobe vanhu vashoma vakangodecida kuti ndo pana pamakataure ndobva vatosangana ngora kuti ishamwari iwo tereko chakatsekatseka konofana inozoitwa leta maposizi vana system yotofamba vanhu vakutoziva kuti fana district yakamira so yetikuta dzakamira so takamira so takati isusu manje I don't know what the problem is here. Inende ndine mari handina mari ndine mari. I was simply going to create a system yekuti ngoti zvinhu guys ngatiite takadai so that vanhu ngatopinda takadai so angodhiziwo zvinezvi mune profile yevanhu vanouya pamasiri munotozviziva kuti magenuine haasi magenuine echi chino pakazoenda infiltration haishaikwi but infiltration ikaenda kupa 10% tine 80% vanhu vegenuine hatingakundwi kana guys. We form, we organize. Chinhu chotorongwa pasa institution yotovepo iri kumirira zvinhu izvi, account yotovepo vakomana vanoda kusapota zvisai mari pakati mastructures achitofamba tichito chacounta fast counter fast.
Endondora loan ikawanda una mari enda kubank ondora loan.
Ndichatamba loto. I have a feeling kuti ndikatamba loto ndino wina yenyaya iyoyi kuti yangu yenyaya iyoyi. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mkoma Elvis. Thank you very much for that. Right. I see walk eyes.
Yeah, Mkoma Jed. No, I'll be short. This is nothing new, eh? This has been happening since 1999. I don't know which chapter for how long. Similar to what Mkoma Elvis was saying. I don't know what chapter for how long. I don't know what Charamba Takamira, which is change for how long. But this has been the story since 1999. till now. It's a repeat. Repeater. History repeats itself. People go to prison for no reason. So, and at this point, the Dango Nyaya, never jokes, I guess. Otherwise, if people are serious, well, I don't know, but try. Look at what happened in Tanzania. Well, I don't try. I just follow Agu and what, but I've heard a lot of people were killed. But I don't know, but try, to gain their freedom. But it seems like I think about Zimbabweans, to quarter, me included. Tagwaza ngotaura jet. Kana opposition akusisina. So, one. And the year 2030, obviously, year 2030. And Mnangagwa is going to get his 2030. Whether you like it or not, he's going to get it. Abana, there's no way to stop him. So it's up to the people. Power is not given to you. You have to take it. In these situations, you have to take it. So isu tangona batrema spaces bona mshingo tower. Until utopfura 2030 yacho tetingoripo chingo tower. Pachingoita breaking news every.
Saka mauya kuzodzikisa morao yevanhu here vana
Atavadzikisa morao yevanhu. Ndikuona chokwadi.
Aiwa chokwadi chenyi ichocho. How do you know kuti chokwadi kuti izvonhingi 2030 yacho achaiwina?
Like I said, since 1999.
Wakabati because hatingarambe simudzvuku rakakuringi kuna 1999. Pane something chichauya chokuti izvo chichaita kuti izvo zvinhu zvichinje.
Kuti kudaro. If you think so, yes.
1999 yacho, we went into 1999 at the time yekuti ZANU-PF had never lost an election, but they lost an election after 1999.
But they continued ruling.
It was because it was a constitutional, a constitutional thing. It wasn't an election to change, the president. I am just telling you, ZANU-PF had never suffered a loss, but they suffered a loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, right? They suffered a loss, but they made a way to make sure that they continue ruling.
Yeah, but the point that I'm trying, to say is, Kuti, it is not always, Kuti, you should resign to defeat just because just because of history. History can, things, can be changed. That is my point.
But we're not doing anything different.
How do you know the people are not doing anything different?
I can see it. Even now, actually, especially now, personal opposition party, there's no action at all.
Because
they want to block the 2030 motion. Oh, okay. I guess.
Because hakuna munhu anongosungirwa mahara ka. Vari kuita preempt ka action iri kuya. Hapana munhu anosungirwa mahara. They are understanding kuti these people, they are going to be, they are challenging them. And hence, they are trying to preempt by arresting people, and stuff like that. So that means good this action, that is going on. Something, that is happening.
I guess so.
That's the reality. How can are they now retards that can go on a spree of just unleashing the police on citizens if they are not smelling danger?
Yeah, a bit of it is a bit of retardation because listen, they control everything, and even my court said what 2030 actually I guess it's just flexing muscles.
Mkoma, the reason why people do what they do. Sometimes it is to raise awareness. And Kutizo, this is what is going on in Zimbabwe. And it is not right. Remember, we don't exist in isolation. Zimbabwe is part of nations, right? And one of the reasons we want to join the Commonwealth, and one of the reasons that was put for, or one of the things that was cited as a barrier, for for that is what Emerson Mnangagwa and his team, wants to do. It's because we don't exist in isolation. We
Okay.
exist as part of nations.
Uh-huh.
Zimbabwe could have been a member, could have rejoined the Commonwealth a long time ago. But because the government the government continues to do what they've been doing all along under the regime of Robert Mugabe. And this is why we are finding ourselves in this day and age, today or yesterday, still calling for sanctions, to go. Still saying that those targeted sanctions that we put on Emerson Mnangagwa must go because they are affecting, our neighbors. Like what Hichilema was saying, with these things, affect, us. They affect, us. You have a head of state and his
Right.
family with
Right.
under, a sanctions, list.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
so sometimes you might not get the specific objective, that you are aiming for. But remember, there are other outcomes that can be achieved, from that. That
Right.
can actually force, people to say, no, okay, we cannot go, this far.
Mkoba Jet, I understand what you're saying. Awareness can be raised. And like I said, awareness has been raised for years. I did. And the world can see what's happening. But at the end of the day, right? Yeah, even if awareness is raised right now, it's not going to stop 2030. You get what I'm saying? And only the people of Zimbabwe have the power to stop that. We shouldn't
I
right
thought
now.
I thought you said the 2030 is not going to be stopped. Where is the
That's what I'm saying.
where is the power of the people going to be coming from?
Oh no.
You see, every effort that we are talking about that is being done, by these folks, that are being hunted, by the police. It's something that is something that is gear is something that can fit into the people power that you're talking about.
It's going to take more than BT and Job.
Oh
It's
dear.
going to take more than it's going to need you, Mkoma Jet. It's going to
who
need
said
champion.
no? Who said this is all about BT and Sikala? Who said that?
No one said that. I'm
No,
saying
you're saying it's going to take it's going to take more than BT end. But I'm saying who said that this is BT and Sakala, Sikala are the only ones, involved.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying, right? Those are the main public figures that are involved, right? If the rest of the citizenship,
those are citizens. They are
that's correct.
citizens who are involved, and you can see that on the ground they are also citizens who are involved. This is why they are going after the likes of Wanamea Gomba and the likes of Wanabwente and the likes of everyone who is in Zimbabwe who is pushing, for this.
Right, it's going to
They
take
are
more
going
than
after those people. Not because they are leaders, but because they are citizens. And this is a citizen initiative. I think I think if we remove that thinking Kuti, this is a political thing, or this is something that is being led by political organizations, I think we will lose it. Right there. What we need, to what we need to do is to look at this from the lenses or from the perspective of a citizen. To say the citizens of Zimbabwe, they are saying, yes, ZANU-PF is free to do what they want with their resolution. They can pass so many resolutions, we don't care. But when it comes to those resolutions that impact on the citizens, then the citizens must organize. And the citizens are organizing. And the regime is responding to the organization because they know that once the citizens have organized, because they've tested defeat on such an aspect, if it goes to a referendum, they've tested defeat, right there. And if the citizens organize themselves in the same way that they did in 1999, 2000, they would test and suffer another defeat again. So in order for them not to get to that, they are doing all they can. Intimidate people, harass people, arrest people, bomb buildings, send operatives after citizens in other countries, harassing them, planting material to get the citizens uh, arrested, trying to silence people, trying to circumvent the processes and make sure this becomes a parliamentary thing. It does not go to the people. They are doing everything that they can, because they know that if they put this in to the citizens, they will be defeated.
Right, Mukoma Jet. Here's my point. The last step to that, I get what you're saying. There are things that are being done. The last step is when Zimbabweans step out of their homes, step out of their offices, and go into the streets and say enough is enough, and they won't leave until there's change. That's it. That's all I'm saying. But if we sit in our homes and offices and think that job seeker or BT is going to bring change by themselves, or they're raising awareness, so that's good enough. No,
Do
nothing
you
is going to.
understand, the philosophy of change?
What is the philosophy of change? If you could
Kutizo
explain.
change is not something that can be done just that, or that somebody says comes up and say I want I want to change things. But change is collective. In order for
That's what I'm
change
saying.
to be made, it is collective. And don't preempt, this thing, or don't shore this thing on the basis yekuti urikuona only a few people vabuda to lead my groups avari kufoma. There's a lot that is happening.
I guess. There's
a lot that is happening. So let us not put a damper on some of these activities that people are doing on the basis they could it not as ZANU PF is invincible, or ZANU PF has done this, ZANU PF has done this. There's something that is bigger than all of us here that needs to be tackled from a collective point of view.
I guess I'll yield my mic for that. I guess. Well, let's see what happens then.
Yeah, let's see him come. But thank you very much. No. I mean, it's good that we are having this conversation.
Now it's good to have the discussion.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to have this discussion with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You're always welcome.
Yeah.
Do I go with my tricks? I go. I walk out so.
That was a passionate.
I thank very much. Thank you very much, my brother. I do appreciate.
All right.
Yeah. Right.
Uncle Jesus was saying that was a passionate defensive discussion that you had there. Very passionate defensive discussion.
And this one in that dakwa ndichiri soba zvangu nasi handisati ndaita chibhodhoro wani pfungwa hadzati dzadhakwa.
Yeah.
Right, no problem. Goma, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But you know what? This is the thing with our country. For me, it's not about leadership at the end of the day. Because Zimbabwe as a country does not need leadership. Even from the time of liberation, Zimbabwe was never liberated by leadership. Zimbabwe was liberated because of individuals who wanted to liberate their country. All these young people who went to war from schools. Yes, there were some individuals sort of said, guys, let's go and liberate our country. There's a difference here. Now, in the 70s, in the 60s, when we were fighting for our liberation, we were fighting against what we call the white people. All right? So there was an issue, this distinction in terms of black and white, which is different now. The kind of liberation that we're fighting today is different from the kind of liberation that our brothers and sisters fought for prior to 1980. Now we're fighting against brother, and it's about what you have in the pocket. which makes it so difficult. Very, very difficult in the sense that it becomes an economical war. What you have in the pocket, I did say it right from the start when you started this discussion is, what was that? The difference is because we are so impoverished as people, as Zimbabweans, to the point that we're now so bought by money. Prior to 1980, it was different because we had one common enemy. The common enemy was the white person. Right now, you don't even know. Your common enemy could be your next brother, your sister. This is why it makes it so difficult. And you can only get 2 cents kako inini ndinogona kukupaka mari kuti shamwari ka. Yeah, ndokupaka 1 million izvozvo kuti uchinja narrative here of discussion izvozvo. You can actually change that narrative. This is what makes it so difficult. What we are fighting for right now, even though it's the liberation of the ordinary person, the future of our young people, right? We've got a situation right now, land irikutorwa. My Chinese have taken over the land. Yes, you're enjoying all the benefits today. How about the kids of tomorrow? We're being so selfish. That's the difference now. That's the difference now. My question will always turn to Kuteji, what do we do tomorrow? All these guys have been bought. All the most influential people, because they're so greedy, which is different from the years, where people had the common cause. Liberation. It's no longer the common cause because we don't exist in that common cause now. Common cause prior to 1980 is different from now. So the strategy is to change. Because the enemies that we're fighting today are our brothers and sisters. How do we fight these people? Some people will say we are so jealous because these people got so much muscles, they got so much money, but we're so jealous. I think my resources are right now. But that's the point. Some of us, what do we want the future to be for the next generation? All these investments is Zimbabwe, it's not about the next generation. It's about individuals. Land purchase left, right, and center. It's going to my Chinese. All I know is I can say with confidence that I've seen it happening. Then we've got my opposition MPs. We have sold out the country because about that Mariana when they want to that Marima 150. Are you in parliament to represent your constituents or come on, seriously? Seriously. As a country, what do we need to do? But I think we are in a very, very weak position to fight the current powers. I don't have a solution to this, but we need to find bright people to fight this current solution.
Right. Thank you very much, Mkoma. I do appreciate. Again, means we kubva kuna tezvara champions. Did you say?
Mkwasha.
Mwise, did you say?
Hapana, tasongana zvakare pane chimwe chirongwa. You know, ndichiri kumborangarira tumwe tumazuva so ndichinyora kuti mapurisa vakapedzera kwavazita rapi kare kare vava Mnangagwa Republic Police, and that's what it is, because handifungi kuti police officer wakanyatso kuti kwe unobva aenda kubasa kwomwe munhu unogara ikoko odovhunza kutoti konaiwe tanzwa kuti panapa pandaitwa musangano kana kuti tanzwa kuti panapa pandaitwa chakati. I think mapurisa ngavambonoverenga police act yavo zvakanaka. Handisiri kuti ngavasashandiswa bodo, ndiri kuti ngavangondoverengawo police act yavo zvakanaka, vambonyatso kuona kuti yakamira sei. Maybe zvinogona kuvabatsira, asi nenyaya yekuti maybe pamwe vanoda kuti, handiti unoza nonzi mbudzi inodya payakasungirirwa, pamwe kune vanoda kudya havo vakapa pavakasungirirwa, handizivi. Kungotaura hangu somunhuwo, nokuti ndongovawo munhu sevamwe, ndinongofemavo sevamwe, asi mapurisa ndonatso kuti vari kunyanya kuzvikanganisa chaizvo zvokuti kana nedignity pabasa ravo handifungi kuti ichiripo. Kungoti chete vanhu hatisati hedu tada kuva serious, tikada kuva serious, I think munhu wega wega anonzi mupurisa ukamuona achinzi ari kutsvaga kana lift, chingomuudza kuti aiwa enda unotora kopi, enda unokwira lift kumba kwenyu kuya kwamuri kuenda, muchitumwa muchingoenda kose kose nekusingafaniri kuti muende. I think those are some of the basics that we should do as a normal people or as a population, right? No. Iwe handingakubudzi mumota iwe, unogara uchiuya uchitirova iwe, saka achimboenda umbondokwira shamu yako yatova titi for tati, because zvimwe zvinhu zvoda kukorektwa, ende munhu wacho ari kukorektwawo futi ngaave nenjeri dzokuza kuti no, zvinhu zvandiri kuita panapa zvinenge zvakaipa, ende uye hazvibvumirwi nomutemo wangu inini as an operational mandate. But tingati kudii, then there is one thing that is important, guys. At this point, maspaces aya amunoseka akakosha stereki, because mamwe anopa manyuku kune vanenge vaida kuita action. Saka mukaona futi makuseka vanhu vari kuita zvavari kuita, iwe usina chauri kuita, deno ndaiva ndoga ndaitokuudza kuti kana tatiri shamwari, ushamwari ndotombogura, nokuti ari kuita zvaari kuita, ari kutoita. Iwewe itawo chako, iwewe chero ukada kunotora hako mamissiles ako, kana kuti ukada kutora madrones ako, ukangopicture imba yaunoda uri kuona kuti ndiri kupa vanhu dambudziko, ukadambura hakuna unokuvhunza, as long as iwewe usingazotauri kana kubuda pachena kuudza vanhu kuti ndindazodai.
That's where you get it wrong, champion. That's where you get it wrong. It should be a collective effort. It's not good to uita zvako, indoita zvako, ita. It should be a collective effort. That's how you win. How win? Uchita zindoga, zindoga. You don't win, my friend.
Naye mukoma, pama muchitaura munambonzwa ndichibate muroma.
Yeah, but we're having a conversation. We're human beings. We're having a conversation.
No, you don't have the conversation. No, you don't have a conversation with me. You have got the conversation with the space, not me. So why are you now poking your nose or your mouth?
Can you respond to what I said? Don't get insulted. Just respond to what I said. That's it. I don't believe in individualism. I believe in collective efforts. Just respond to that.
Chimbomira nokuti ndiri kutaura